Yeah. See if it pops up here.
Ooh, I need to tighten up my chair. That's not good.
Yeah, we're
Maybe
live
so.
on the Robert Power channel.
Jason, I went 16 years without smoking weed because the Air Force allowed it as long as it wasn't blatant. And then,
Look the other way.
yeah, and then in the 80s, they went to zero tolerance.
Yeah.
So I
I
had I
mean,
had I had too much time in. There's no way I was going to jeopardize it, so I just quit. But my last month in the Air Guard, my son brought over his atomic bong, and he had some incredibly righteous stuff.
so he had one called Atomic Bomb. Did he have like another one that was like a hookah that he called Wesley Pipes?
Not doing good.
Yeah, no, he got his old man really, really fucked up. He said that was the funniest thing he's ever seen. Is seeing me just bouncing off the walls.
You know, I have never ever had a desire to ever try it or do anything really
I,
other than like maybe liquor. I,
maybe liquor? Did you say maybe liquor?
I was kind of turned on to it pretty young.
Licker, that kind of liquor. Or,
You know, that's how Frenchmen hold their
dirty
liquor.
old man.
I
You know how
took a
Frenchmen hold their liquor? By the ears.
real quick. I know we're live, and Sarah's in the chat, and Polly's in the chat. Hi guys, good to see
Hey,
you.
sir.
Welcome, ladies. We
Don't
are
call me. V Gates.
we are finally live. You know, we're geezers and geeks, so sometimes it takes us a little while to get our geek on while we are geezering.
I was gonna say y'all might be geezers. I am 42 years young. Thank you very much. All right.
Dude, I'm seeing
and I'm 80
I
years
am
old.
not a geezer yet.
well, Clay actually crossed over into geezerdom last year when he turned 50, if I'm not mistaken.
What? I turned
Golf ball.
55 last year.
55, that's right. I
Yeah.
thought it was I knew it was at least 50.
55
So
and getting hit them 55 and older parks now, so I'm good with that.
Well, and given your generation, Clay, when you turned 55, you're probably frustrated because like Sammy Hagar was somewhere in the back of your mind saying, "I can't drive 55."
Possibly.
that was a long way to get there. Good
There's
Lord.
actually, now, I hadn't seen a 55-mile-an-hour speed limit for a long time till I moved out here.
Yeah. All the outer roads here in Missouri, like all the state highways, are 55, which is great for gas mileage.
We just went down to Missouri a couple weeks ago.
Oh, where
The
we
only
at?
reason,
We
you know,
go
the only
down
reason,
from Des Moines. We go down to Eagleville, the state line, down there at the
Okay.
weed store.
Yeah.
Because
you know,
here
the only
the laws,
reason gas mileage is an issue to consider is because of the price of it.
because the medical vape that you get here in Iowa doesn't
Mm.
compare to some of the medical vape you get in Missouri. So we
Well,
drive
that's
down to
because
Missouri. It's
they
only an
cut
hour
your stuff
away.
in Iowa with corn.
Yeah, probably. It's the water.
it's, it's
Probably the water.
it's the ethanol.
Yeah.
Dick
No, I
Halb
can't-
is in there.
They do have issues
I
with
can't
water
I
out
can't
here.
drink, and that's one of the reasons I smoke weed. I can't drink.
Oh, you have an intolerance for alcohol?
No
I
other
had-
people around him do.
No, yeah, on January 28th, 1986, which is a day that will,
Live in infamy?
yes, I spent 11 hours under anesthesia on an operating room table at Mayo Clinic undergoing brain surgery.
Oh, wow.
I had a golf ball sized tumor literally in the middle of my skull. And they went through here,
Mm-hmm.
and they did so much damage to the nerves and the tendons there that even a little bit of wine, this much, will give me a 12 headache on a scale of 0 to 10.
Yeah.
And I live with a headache. I have a 4 headache, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
No bueno.
And most of the time, when I'm up and doing stuff, it's like white noise. I don't hear it. I don't feel it. But when I lay down, try to close my eyes, go to sleep, it's just that nagging. Not a bad nag, but it's just it's
There.
There.
it's
yeah.
there.
Yeah.
And rather than taking opioids, which I do not like and nor do I want,
Right. Bad news bears right there.
because I asked the doctors at Mayo Clinic if weed helps, should I do that? And he said absolutely.
Yeah.
So, so that's why I'm an 80-year-old pothead. What can I say?
No judgment, man. No judgment.
Yeah, yeah. So, but I wish my son said he wished he would have recorded me the first time I got wasted after not smoking for 16 years. So, oh well. And if I had to quit again today, I would. It wouldn't. It's something I would, live through, and I would just take not aspirin, but just Tylenol.
Yeah.
For
I
the
am sure
headache.
there are a few people who really wish they would have had a camera on me on a couple of times.
Yeah.
I've gotten
Well,
really drunk.
I mean, some of the shit I pulled as a kid. I'm glad no one had a cell phone back then. I mean, my God, you'd have seen my picture in post offices. I know you would have.
You know, that's the thing is that, Jim, you and I in particular, we grew up in the Polaroid generation, right? And
Yeah.
you remember that when you had the camera and you'd take the picture and some bitch would just pop out, and you'd have this hard copy picture and you go, "Wow, look how cool that is."
It's
Yeah.
That's the only evidence of
quality.
you and I causing any kind of mayhem when we were younger. It's that.
Yeah,
because
but you didn't. I mean, you didn't carry. You didn't carry because the big poison Polaroids were big and bulky. It wasn't until they came out with the SX70. I think that was in 71 or 72.
Remember the Cube flash?
Oh yeah, yeah.
You get like the stack of multiple flash
Oh,
bulbs
yeah,
that you would
yeah.
like a magazine of flash bulbs.
Well, I think as far as
I
the
forgot about them.
so we've got 42.
How much do you
to
want to bet
80.
Jim's getting one? Look.
This
I knew
is what I did most of my shooting with as a
There
kid.
it is.
And it's
Nice. I've got a brownie.
it's a Kodak,
You got the 8mm?
and this thing's older than me. So,
Have you got the 8mm brownie?
pardon?
No, Jason.
Have
He was.
the box camera brownie.
Oh shit.
Yeah, and it's in its original box with unused flash bulbs and an instruction manual. No film though, unfortunately.
I recently started following this guy. I want to try this experiment. He takes a Coke can, cuts the top of the Coke can off, puts
Mhm.
a pinhole in it,
Yep.
puts a piece of photo paper in there, tapes it all up, sticks it just out by a creek or out
Yep.
pointing at a mountain, comes back a few days later, and it's imprinted onto the
Yeah,
photo
the
paper.
pinhole camera is what they call
Yeah,
it.
pinhole camera. I thought
Yeah,
that was pretty cool stuff.
I've made them before, like using oatmeal box, and stuff like that. You wrap it with tape so you don't get any kind of light penetration other than through the pinhole that you put in
Pinhole,
it,
yeah.
and then you secure your photo paper to the backside of it. It's pretty cool.
One of the reasons there's so many UFO sightings, today is because of these things. But
Isn't
Oh,
it
well.
isn't it amazing how much of the oxygen that's being sucked out of the discourse around UAPs, UFOs, and EIEIOs, and all the
How
other
about-
shit?
how about 31/Atlas that's heading towards us?
Yeah, we got the Atlas. We've got the Voyager message that came through last October. You've got Hubble dropping, or not Hubble, James Webb dropping all kinds of new images of shit and making the physicists pull whatever hair they got left out.
We were wrong.
Well, the James Webb Space Telescope literally threw away a millennia of knowledge that we thought how the universe came together and where it began. I mean, they're now saying that they came to a conclusion shortly after they turned the James Webb on, because one of the first images they shot was not 13.4 billion light years away. It was 14, almost 15 billion light years, way past, I mean, a couple of billion years past the Big Bang.
Yeah, and they've already pushed it back 40
I think-
billion years at this point.
I think
And-
they were talking like 63
Jesus.
was the number
Yeah.
they were talking about.
But the other thing that happened on that front is, the whole Big Bang, people don't realize what that model is based on. And it's based on the cosmic microwave background. And the
Okay.
cosmic microwave background is suspected and theorized and hypothesized and proffered by the physicists to be the remnant of the Big Bang, the vibration from the bang itself.
Uh-huh.
So the whole Big Bang is based off of that being accurate. And just a month ago, a whole new set of studies and telemetry was looking out through the James Webb and found this little cluster of shit that they're going, why is this little cluster of shit out here? And they went and they did all their telemetry on it, and they found the same cosmic microwave background coming from this little patch. And the more they studied it, they realized that that frequency was coming actually from the galaxies. It wasn't something the galaxies were in. It was something that was
Something they
coming
were-
from the
So
galaxies.
the galaxies are emitting it.
And so that completely right now, basically, technically, and shortened to the point, physics is all fucked right now.
Yeah.
Because everything is, all of the physics we use, planetary physics, astrophysics, quantum mechanics, even the quantum wave theory, is all based off initially of this cosmic microwave background that's just been totally shoved into the trash. It also questions Einstein's E equals mc squared, which has never produced anything. It's nothing more than a mental gymnast jumping around a bunch of mathematical shit. But nothing has ever come from E equals mc squared. But it's amazing how people will cling to something that they think that they want to be true in order to feel safe, in order to feel like they are okay with their belief and their view of the world and reality. And these people are getting one serious bitch slap upside the head right now. All the telemetry, all the new studies, all the new sciences are proving that you guys might have to go back to your math models and machine and try to turn on some new math, some new models, because the ones you've got have just been debunked. And I, for one, am absolutely loving it, because I've been calling these fuckers out for the last couple of decades, and it's time for the big reveal, which is exactly what we talked about a year ago at this time about the future. We looked at
remember
it and
that.
we said, God damn.
Well,
This is crazy.
when the giant Magellan telescope hits first light, it was we're supposed to do it in the middle of the pandemic, but because of the pandemic, it's been delayed. They manufactured 8, one of them's a spare, but 8 27-foot diameter mirrors for the giant Magellan telescope. And there'll be 7 of them. Now, the middle mirror has a hole in it, for the secondary mirror to beam the images to. But you're going to have 7 27-foot diameter mirrors there. And the Mirror Lab is at the University of Arizona. It's underneath the football stadium, underneath the bleachers. And when I went in there, they were working on mirror 5, 4 and 5 of the 8. They were polishing one. The other ones have been completed, and they're in storage. And they have to go over the road. They can't go on the freeways because the load's too wide and too high. So they go down 2-lane roads all the way to Houston. They can't make it. They can't make it to the West Coast. There's too many restrictions, height-wise and width-wise, that they can't get down to the harbor. But they can get down to Houston. So, that's at 16,000 feet in the western slope of the Andes. There in Chile. And it's where all the big telescopes are. But you're talking about 100-foot diameter equivalent mirror, and they said they should be able to look back within 100,000 years of the beginning of our universe. So that with the James Webb Space Telescope is, you might as well throw all your physics and astronomy books out the window, because they're not worth a damn anymore.
Well, that's the thing that's
Fun while it
happening.
lasted, but
Yeah, but that's the thing that's happening. The people are realizing that the majority of the shit that they've been told and sold is all bullshit. And at a minimum, even the stuff that will pass common sense and critical thinking and reasoning, there's a good 50% that needs to be fully re-examined.
yeah.
Needs to be determined whether it's adding to the process or if it's a clog in the system. Clay, what do you think? Do you think that there's a bunch of bullshit being shoved down the throats and up the asses of the carbon units?
Oh hell yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. They have
This
us.
is-
They have us pulled in so many different directions. It's it's not even funny. And they have new ones coming out every day. There's something new to argue about. So yeah, there's a lot of just crap spilling out right now.
Well, it seems like it's taken a turn, though. I don't know about you guys, but I'm having this major sense when I get out into humanity, which I try to restrain from doing that too often. But when I get out there and mingle about, there's a different sense of you put your fields out, you see the frequencies and everybody you see what the vibe is. And before the election a year ago, at this point, you go outside and there was just a lot of tents. There was a lot of clenched posterior orifices. And they were unnaturally clenched, and they were also
Puckered.
spasmodic.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
now I go out and I don't feel that. I don't see that. It seems like there was a great big exhale, especially after the shit that if you ever wanted to see an example of how to skillfully and aggressively create a strategy, make a plan, design your tactics, and go and execute. The entire planet just watched the last 7+ months of team execution. Team
Yeah.
get shit done. Team get out of my way, and I'm here to make it right. I'm not here to
And
fuck
I-
with you. I'm here to make it right.
I
And
love
I don't
Tulsi.
tolerate.
Yeah.
I will find the fuckery and I will remove said fuckery because my filters let no fuckery through. And it's just been nothing short of astonishing in my opinion and experience. What do you guys think?
I mean,
Jason,
I feel
what do you think?
There we go.
There you go. Yeah, you're back now.
I don't know, man.
Don't give me that shit. Don't give me some mealy mouth, weak, weaselly kind of shit. Drop it. Come on.
I don't know. I'll be completely honest. I was responding to something real quick, and I lost
It-
half of what you said. So
All right. See, and that's what I come to expect and admire about your participation in these conversations. It wouldn't be complete without talking to somebody who's not listening. I mean, isn't that the way of the geezer? I mean, we talk, which reminds me, I was just musing the other day, and I wanted to drop this in before I forget it. Do you guys experience that the older you get, the art of the fart becomes more enjoyable?
Oh yeah, unless you get a surprise, and a surprise
yeah, I was gonna
is
say enjoyable
a fart-
or more like a
a
really
fart with a lump in
uncomfortable
it.
Russian roulette. That's
yeah. Hey, when I was in Belize, I'm sure glad I didn't have to clean that bathroom. I got something at Houston Intercontinental. I ate at Landry's. It was beautiful. It was a great. I think I got a burger, and it got me. It's 3.5 hours down to Belize City, and I met the whole group there. There were 10 of us, and we're heading out of town. And I told Jared, I said, stop the vehicle. So I got to find a bathroom. I said, why is that? He said, you don't. He said, you got to find one right this minute. So there was a little store that was open. I ran in and said, you know, do you have a bathroom? He says, yeah, it's outside. And I go in there. The light won't turn on. There's no toilet seat, and just a bunch of rags on the floor. And I mean, it was just. And I dropped my shorts, and I literally hit the wall up about 3 or 4 feet above the floor, and then splattering everywhere. It was the most disgusting thing I've ever been involved with. But
Well, thank you for sharing that, because now we have all shared in your most disgusting thing, and I
yeah, that's probably the most
shower.
disgusting thing I've ever
I
done.
bet you got
Yeah.
the hell out of Dodge real quick after
Oh
that.
God, yeah, yeah. And we had to stop 3 or 4 more times before we got to where we're headed. So, Punta Gorda. They referred to Punta Gorda, Belize, as the asshole of Belize. So, it's an interesting place. Wonderful people.
Hey, I got a
and
question for you, Jim.
yes, sir.
In 2021, did you publish a book titled 75 Years of the Lockheed Martin Skunk Works?
Yes, I did. And it's in his 4th or 5th printing.
Did you also do one called Ohio Class Submarine on deck
Yes.
number 3?
Yep,
Nautilus to Columbia?
yep. That's hardbound. That's from Osprey. Yeah.
Well, just as fun, because I was thinking about doing this a while ago. I drew up a 5-minute history of Jim Goodall,
Oh shit.
and because that's what I do on my channel, and I was thinking about doing one. I just wanted to make sure that them books were real before I.
Oh no, no.
And I have
Just,
you right here in case I do it, so I'm not putting out misinformation.
I
Because
was like, what's
ChatGPT
with
is
the
not
third
correct all
degree?
the
Is
time.
somebody in the chat asking all kinds of weird questions?
Because it's ChatGPT that did it, so I just wanted to make sure if I do that, something like that, it's not going to be listing a bunch of stuff that you didn't actually do.
Many
mean
moons
this one?
ago, when the Air
Yep,
Force
that's
was
the
still
one.
flying the last of its B-47s, Jim Goodall came.
I've got one of those on my shelf in the living room. I look at it when I watch TV.
I
That
have it in my
that
safe for later
bugger
on
weighs
this
that bugger weighs 5.5 pounds. And I got a call from Jack Gordon. Who was the president of the Skunk Works. I got a call from oh shit, my mind just went blank. I had, including Jeff Babion, I had 5 of the heads of the Skunk Works either call me or email me or tell me in person. That's one of their treasures. Jeff Babion, when I did the book signing on June 3rd of 21 at the Skunk Works, and he said he has 2 books in his man cave that no one's allowed to touch. 75 Years of Lockheed Skunk Works and the Pictorial History of the Blackbirds from Sheffer Publishing of mine. And so those are his 2 treasures. And that just tickled the hell out of me. But it's a passion of mine, and you don't make any money, but a lot of people know who I am.
Yeah.
A lot of
And a lot of
probably
people
regret.
wish they didn't.
Yeah, this is true words never spoken. Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, so that son of a bitch. Yeah. But
Dang, Prof, why you gotta be like that, dude?
Hey, that's the way. That's the way of the geese. Speaking of the way of the geese, I've got some notes here that I want to.
Friends
Go
like
ahead
you, who needs
and-
enemies?
Where am I here? Okay. I'm just going to whip through some of these. I had this one I had done by Notebook LM, I think. And so we went. So just to give a perspective, we had three real shows last year where we did predictions. One was on the 28th of August or 25th of August, and that was the one that we did where we did our major predictions. But then shit got crazy. If you all remember, not only did our predictions come true, but the night of the election, it was going so to the point of what we predicted that we all got on and did another live stream. And we went, there was more of a geezer gloat. And then later in October, and actually there's a fourth one, the beginning of the year, we did our predictions for going forward. So let me go through a couple of things that were found, what we said and what we did. And let's see where we are. Did we actually get to where we thought we would be? And is it the same or is it something else? All right. So we talked about the Kennedy-Trump alliance impact. We predicted that Kennedy's alliance with Trump should help Trump. This is obviously before the election, by drawing followers away from the Democratic Party. Boy, they didn't need any help in that area.
They're doing a real good job as it is.
We also stated that we predicted a year prior that Kennedy and Trump would be together in this election. So during that time when we were talking about this, a year before, there was the prediction that Kennedy would join Trump. And then this last August, a year ago, we said that, yep, that's going to help Trump big time. Let's see, we also talked about the Israeli conflict. We said something's going to start regarding the conflict in Israel, but ultimately predicted that the U.S. and Israel is going to prevail and Israel would not be wiped out. This is when everybody was talking about fucking World War III and all this other
Yeah.
fear
Yeah.
porn bullshit. Let's
so-
see. So
Oh,
far
real quick.
we're spot on. Go ahead, Clay.
Elderberry popped into chat, and also
Hey, El.
Joanne popped into chat. So thanks for coming in.
Fucking hair is driving me crazy. I'm gonna have to get me a hair girl, a hair woman, or a hair person. Never mind. Then we also talked about emerging technologies. We said a bunch of tech that's about to get exposed. Specifically, three transformative things: zero-point technology, free water and energy, and communications. We said that technology is going to be fundamentally transformative and cause a shitload of disruption.
Yeah.
I think we kind of got that one.
Yeah.
Technology is going to start popping out in the next couple of years, most likely a lot of it next year, meaning this year.
Yeah.
And shit's going to change big time. Oh, that's right. I remember this now. We also, this was right after the Olympics. So we were doing our Olympics memes and mockery.
Oh yeah.
And we talked about the break-dancing dinosaurs in the Olympics.
That's right.
Breakdancing dynasty.
All right. Okay.
I missed that one.
You didn't miss much. I didn't
We
watch
wish
any
we
of the
did.
Olympics.
All right. So
You
then,
didn't miss shit.
let's see here. This one is 2 days before the election. So the election was on the 5th. This is the show we did on November 2nd.
Hey, Woo Rider, good to see you. I hope they expose the pedo cabal as well.
So we said last year that historic glide path started since the previous Trump administration, moving towards a new future thing that is currently in an accelerated mode.
Who said that?
the speakers. There was no name
Oh.
attached to that one. Kind of sounds like something I'd say.
It's probably just
there
something we were
was,
discussing.
yeah. Then there is a global energetic shift and transformation occurring, which some interpret as moving into the fifth dimension, manifesting in people's minds and a growing sense of questioning. And again,
As
this
far as
is
things changing or whatever, uh, in the last week, along the ring of fire, there's been over 600 earthquakes above 5 on the Richter scale,
right.
and you're going nuts. All the magma chambers down the chain of volcanoes from Mount Baker to Rainier all the way down to Lassen are filling, and there's activity now in Mount Diablo, which is in the East Bay in Contra Costa County, sort of that to the other half of Silicon Valley, so to speak. And if that goes, that takes the whole Bay Area with it.
Yeah, Cascadia has been chirping too.
Yeah, and it's 200 years or 150 years overdue because it with all the core samples and everything else they've been they would say it's an even distribution of time.
Well, you got
And,
new geysers popping up in Yellowstone.
and Yellowstone itself is bulging. The ground is elevating. We have Kilauea that has been spewing out
Yeah.
billions of cubic yards of lava. The undersea volcano off the coast of Oregon, they say it's ready to blow at any time, and they're not sure what's going to cause it. And that may be strong enough to trigger the Cascadia subduction zone, which goes from the top of Vancouver Island to just off the coast near Eureka, to start up the San Andreas Fault, which is in the same general vicinity, and go all the way down. It could set off the entire chain of volcanoes and earthquakes along all the western faults.
Well, then there
But
was
I
the
don't
one
think we
that
have any major ones here in Tucson.
there was the one recently in Kamchatka, right? That just
Yeah,
was an
oh yeah,
8.8.
yeah, yeah.
I mean,
Initially,
so there's
initially they said a 9. Yeah,
so my thoughts on that is that's just I think it's a number of variables, but the most important one, the highest driver, is the expanding Earth. I think that it's just a natural part of the expansion of the planet. We're not on a static planet. It is growing. Everything in the planet, and everything, all the planets, all the cosmos that we see, everything is expanding. Nothing is shrinking. And that's part of this physics problem that we were talking about earlier. These people are looking in the wrong place for the wrong things for the wrong reasons. And they're now all of a sudden finding out that I guess those guys over there smoking weed with long hair and hanging out in the desert kind of had a better grip on reality than we did.
yeah.
Imagine that.
Now, okay, you're gonna have to fill me in on this. The Earth itself is expanding
Hmm.
because I guess I have never heard that one before. So what's the evidence?
There's a whole bunch of empirical data from a geological perspective that we have found throughout all of the strata that we've examined. And basically, it boils down to this. The current model thought is that the core of the Earth is an iron ball, a molten iron ball. And there's no proof of that. It's all hypothesized.
Right.
What makes more sense is that it's a plasma ball, which also seems to be the most consistent component of just about every planetary body that we have encountered and done any kind of telemetry on. So plasma in its natural state continues to always create more of itself. So if it is indeed a plasma core rather than an iron core, then that is going to cause the Earth to expand. There's all kinds of oddities throughout the timeline about at different points in time. For example, there was 360 days a year instead of 365, the way it was marked and delineated and measured and managed. They didn't manage it, they measured it. You have the whole concept of how were the dinosaurs so ginormous? How was that the flora and fauna during that period so big? Well, if the planet was smaller, there would be less gravity, enabling all the biology, anything that was organic life form, less restriction and growth. And so there's a whole bunch of things like that. But my main point is that if indeed we have a plasma core, all of the rumblings and the quakes, over in Africa, the Rift Valley just keeps getting wider and wider. It's a ginormous rip right in the continent. You don't see, and this is going to be controversial, but I don't care. The whole concept of subduction zones.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, the tectonic and continental plates are crashing into each other,
Yeah.
and then being subsumed underneath, makes no sense whatsoever. What does make sense is that if you look at the Mid-Atlantic Ridge and in the Pacific Ridge, you'll see that where the lines are, it's always expanding. There's always more of it. When they go and they date the seafloor around the rips, it's all brand new shit. 50 million years old, 100 million years old. So there's new Earth being created constantly. The subduction zones they're not subductions, they're butted up against each other. They are delineated lines of fractures in the tectonic plate. And they push but as they also push, there's more growth. So it doesn't make any sense, the current model, and it's all hypothesis anyway. Again, the math models and machines have mucked up and tried to come up with magical bullshit.
Yep.
Does that answer your question?
Probably not.
Yeah. I'm not sure I buy into a bunch of it. But
Well, you don't have to. I've spent a lot of time on it, and the thing is that it's a part of what we're talking about that we saw last year. That there was going to be this growing sense of questioning. And there is more questions going on now across any domain, societal, cultural, political, economic, technological. There's more questions being tossed out there. And what's cool about it is it's also causing a shitload, it's also a double-edged sword, a shitload of imagination and, people spinning off into space and creating all this fear, uncertainty, and doubt for, thinking we're going to have a HAL 9000 Terminator singularity. It's just complete bullshit. But it's easy to accept if you don't know the data. So now I'm done with that rant. Let's keep going here. So we also said on that day was, this was again November 2nd. We said the current election system cannot be audited and is designed not to be. We also said it will not change by next Tuesday, but it will be replaced by the next election. Election system replacement? They're talking about it now.
Yeah, they're talking about it.
And it sure as hell needs to be done, because there is no way you can trust in mail-in ballots. There's no way you can trust the machines. And if you could, the only way you could trust it is if it was auditable. And they are designed not to be auditable. You can't go in and validate. You can't verify.
Yeah, anybody
Which,
can
by the
mail
way,
it
is a
in.
new... What's that, Clay?
Anybody can mail one of them things in.
Yeah, fuck yeah. And I think there's 9 states that do not require ID to vote.
Yeah.
I don't think that shit's going to last much longer. I mean, how in the hell can you defend that?
That is
What is the isolated victims that you've identified that are a tiny little less than 1% of the population that are stopping everybody else from having something that's free and fair? Help me out with that victim bullshit. I got problems with it. I got something to say about it. Let's see. We also said on the 2nd that it was, let's see, the second was Saturday, third, fourth, fifth. So Tuesday the 5th, that the election will be called by 5 p.m., latest by 8 p.m. And it was clear. In fact, one of the things that we said back in August was that the race, the election, would be clearly over by mid-October, and everything from then on would be nothing more than a formality. Which we talked about.
When was the debate between the empty head and Trump?
It was like the week before he got shot, or the end of June. It was like 2 weeks before he got shot.
Okay. And we'll get into it. I'll hold it for a while.
Yeah,
Continue.
I've got a few here I want to toss out there. So let's see. We thought that it would be called by 5, and it should have been at the latest by 8. And the fact that at 8 o'clock it was so obvious that it was going to be exactly what we predicted, we went ahead and went live. And
Yep.
we did a little geezer gloat. And what did we say here? Oh, there was a whole bunch of.
See, that's
There
the
was a whole
great.
bunch. What's that?
That's one of the greatest things about AI is you can just take or show something like that, uh, and just pump it in there, and it just breaks it all down for you. Does all of that hard work for you. It's nice. I like it. It's a very
When people-
convenient tool.
When people realize that it's nothing more than an information interrogation assistant that is totally designed for pattern recognition. That's the fundamental thing. That's how it works. That's all it does. The way to execute that thing and make it do the best is to have a really good prompt. What's a prompt? It's a question. What's a question? It's a query. The better your prompt, the better your question, the better your results. And I think that actually I've got some videos I just did on this from the conversation you and I had, Jason, on Sunday with Eve.
Yeah.
And Eve will be joining us a little later in the show, so stick around for some here's some Eve.
As a talking head or just as a listener?
No, she's gonna. Well, we're not gonna see her. We're going to hear her,
Oh, okay.
and we're gonna let her tell us some things that she finds that we ask her. But let me finish here. So we said that following the election, the losing side is anticipated to experience significant emotional outbursts and local disturbances.
Just a few.
However, unlike previous events, i.e. the Summer of Love, the speakers predict that if disturbance occurs, again, people will actively resist them and not tolerate them. There will be a rise of the pissed off peeps.
Yep.
Yeah, they're still
there'll be-
protesting out there, but they're small and
They've
kinda
lost all their
scattered.
funds. They
I
don't-
haven't seen anything like organized for a while.
Well, and you know that anything organized is not organic. It's all paid
Yeah,
participants,
all paid players.
non-player characters. Let's see. We said that a huge psychological smack will hit those holding opposing ideology as they realize their foundational beliefs were false, leading to a period of mental transformative disruption and self-examination. Initially, pharmaceutical revenue might increase for a quarter or two as people react to stress by increasing their medication. All righty. Following this initial difficult period, the economy is predicted to improve, and individuals will gain more personal control. There will be attempts to play games at ratifying the results during the 76-day transition period before the January 20th inauguration, potentially leading to another January 6th type event. Well, fortunately, that didn't happen. I mean, it was so demonstrative and declarative, and you couldn't deny it, you know. And they were so out of gas because they ran themselves into the ground, chasing the wrong shit and burning all their juju in the wrong direction. Um, Opponents might attempt a cause chaos to trigger continuity of government or even military takeover or declare war to keep the current administration in power. I think that somebody might have tossed that around in some noggins, but they probably just fell out the gaping holes on the sides of their craniums. The military will likely be activated in major Democrat-run cities due to anticipated emotional outbursts from groups like BLM and Antifa. Did you guys see any of them show up?
I haven't seen BLM or Antifa, but there have been outbreaks in the sanctuary cities for sure. At least he's sending in, National Guard to all of these
Well,
sanctuary cities now. So
yeah, well, that was a combination of the deportation roundups and the assholes who were protesting the deportation trashing federal buildings. It's like, all right, you guys, we know that we already found the spigot of your funds. We've shut that off thanks to Doge and Team Musk. So that
And now,
money got
and
there.
now Bill Gates has pulled his $600 million out of. Whatever.
He's tucking his nutsack where his taint hangs.
Oh,
He is not. He's coming to Jesus like the rest of them. You notice how everybody's all of a sudden, it's not so bad. And these guys seem to be pretty competent. They seem to be smart. They seem to be doing things for the right reasons. And at least at a minimum, the shit they're saying that they're going and doing sure makes a lot of sense.
Yes.
I mean, if I was given the responsibility to do what these guys are doing, basically take over and clean up a clogged, crappy, corrupt system after decades of mismanagement and abuse, I'd want to do exactly what these fuckers are doing. And I'd like to actually have some of the people that they have doing it with me. Because they also... Did any of you see that 3-hour marathon cabinet meeting live the other day?
I saw bits and pieces.
I caught it walking through the house, and I always have the news on mute just to see if there's some crisis. And there's Trump sitting around there's like 30 of them. And they're all talking, and it's basically each one had to sit there and give their account of their responsibility for the domain they're responsible for and talk about what they're doing and why they're doing it. There wasn't anybody that delivered anything that was not competent, that was not clear, concise, to the point, and in command of the domain that they are responsible for. I was sitting there going, you know what this reminds me of? This looks like Apprentice.
Yeah.
And I'm totally blown away that all of the pundits and the people who postulate and prognosticate on this, the theme of the meme, whatever's going on. Nobody, I haven't heard anybody mention, hey, well, Trump's just basically doing Apprentice. That's exactly what he's fucking doing. The first term was the first crew, and they failed. And it was a good thing that they failed because he got to find out what he needs to know. Second time came around, and it was just basically given to the people on the right and to Trump by the left because of an unbelievably abysmal performance of doing anything that made any sense. And more importantly, pushing shit that made no sense and making people, having to deal with it and adopt whatever strange, bizarre, twisted fucking thing that they've come up with. But these people are knocking it out of the park. Hard. I don't think
All
anybody's
of them.
ever seen.
And I think they're going to officially change the Department of Defense to be called the Department of War.
Yeah, I can see that, but I think there might become something else because war just sounds like you're there to do that.
Well, I mean,
What do you think, Jason?
look,
You're living in that world. Would you
if you
rather
look
be
at things- if you
a
look at
member
things
of the Department of
historically-
War?
if you look at things historically, we had a War Department and the Department of the Navy.
Mm-hmm.
The whole thing with going to the Department of Defense, that all came around at the same time when the Air Force was created in 47. Like that whole discussion meeting, all of those kinds of things, all of that, like the Department of Defense came out of that as well as the Air Force. So, like, honestly, it was the War Department before. It was the War Department, it's Department of Defense now. If it goes back to being War Department, who cares? I mean, really, who cares?
It's just words.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the same function. At least in that instance, it sounds like what we're there for.
Well, it
It's
doesn't
a-
matter what the current administration does. It's never going to be good enough.
Well,
They're always going to have something to complain about. And you know what? I'll admit, he's probably not going to do every fucking thing that he's supposed to, but I think he's put a damn good dent in it. Say that much.
I haven't said there's nobody that's done as much in in this short amount of time in our history of our country. And I think that it's
Of any
time-
of any country.
yeah, of it. Well, yeah, I don't know. Genghis Khan. Well, Khan wasn't a country.
Oh,
but,
and
Mao and
welcome in
Stalin and
Karen
those
and
guys did some
Lucy
nasty shit.
McDonald.
So
And this is without blood.
all right, let me continue here. So we just talked about, we thought that, there might be some of this activist paid phony bullshit, more hoaxes in BLM and Antifa showing up. They didn't, because I think they just realized that
What,
there is many of the diehards that wanted to hang in and try to make noise. I think the rest of them just said, fuck this. We're not doing this. It's not working.
I don't know why it just came to my mind, but I have a friend that does political talk on Rumble. And I went over there and hung out last Friday, and he had one of the J6ers on his panel. The guy in the wheelchair. You know who I'm talking about?
Yeah.
He did a lot of the filming. Yeah, that guy's pretty cool, man. He hung out on panel with us, and we talked for a few hours. Yeah, that guy's pretty cool.
Yeah,
He's a
When
Proud
people
Boy, too.
realize that whole everything, and we'll go backwards in time, but January 6th was the goddamn made up fucking hoax. And the amount of people that believe, who in their right minds thinks that the people that are conservative, who own the most guns, would attempt an insurrection without bringing them?
Yeah.
Somebody please help me understand how you read the minds of the people that went there, because first of all, the reason that was going on is because there was clearly some shady, sketchy shit that had gone on with that election. There's no fucking way that thing was not hacked and manipulated. That's why those people were there, to ask for more time for clarification. So
well, and it's also a matter of who and where was the interference coming from is something that
what interference?
the election interference stuff, like
Who was pulling it? It was all the goddamn Dems. Are you kidding me? It was all the NGOs. It was all the corrupt fucking blue city organized, administrated, managered cities where the big populations were, that had all the machines and the mail-in ballots and all of the protected victim class from all the oppressors on the other side. I mean, it was so fucking easy to see, but if you are so absorbed and bought into the narrative that you've been told and sold without vetting it yourself. In fact, I got a new shirt on the merch shop. I've taken Reagan and I've updated it from trust and verify to vet and verify. Because that's what people need to be doing now. You need to vet the fuck out of whatever it is that you're being told, who's telling it, what's their track record, is there any credibility, etc. But anyway, it's another rant. Let me finish with the notes. I've only got 50 more pages. Stand by.
Jesus.
Let's see. So the speakers believe this period marks the last gasp and the beginning of the end for the opposing side. We called that. There isn't anything on the left that isn't crumbling and stumbling under its own BS. Media, entertainment, any of the personalities and the pundits, people losing their jobs, getting fired, losing the shows, fucking media companies being sold for scrap or going under. I mean,
Yeah.
the entire, all of the organ, the mouthpiece of this ideology has just gotten its ass handed to it. And everybody that they tried to cancel during the oddly and ironically named Pound Me Too movement, hashtag pound sign Me Too, remember all that bullshit? That's
Yeah.
where all this cancel crap started in earnest. Oh, this guy's had some kind of sexual deviance, 30 years ago. We're going to call him out. Arr, go get him. And they all get wound up and they go chase him. And the little NPCs and the little organized paid groups of attack dogs and digital demons go out and start just trying to shut people down. And they did that across the board. Bill O'Reilly, Tucker Carlson, fucking Rogan used to be on the left. All of the people that got canned from wherever they were because they were canceled came back even stronger and are doing even better now than they were before they were canceled. What does that tell you? What has happened where these people who were doing all the canceling are now the ones being canceled? Essentially, the hunted has become the hunter.
Yeah.
All right, I see that landed well. All right. There will be a mass chopping block on day one for those hired by the previous administration. Obama, Hillary, Biden, Clinton. And criminal activity within the FBI will be exposed.
Apparently, there's supposed to be some shit hitting the fan this coming week.
On what?
Arrests.
Really?
Yeah. So.
Like,
Yeah, there's some stuff going down there. All of these, alligator Alcatraz and the okey
you
pokey.
found on that shit?
Didn't they just shut that down? Didn't that just get some judge just ruled on something about that alligator place and it got shut down? I thought I read something about that today. I could be wrong.
No, I think
Yeah,
it was to move people out of it, not move more.
They wanted
Mm-hmm.
it torn down. That's what I remember.
Yeah, well, and then they're not going to get that. I mean,
No.
and that's the other thing. We talk about the financial and the political and systems, economic systems. The other part, the hidden major fuckery, is the judicial system. There is nothing but a bunch of serious asswipes that think that they have some, because they sit on a chair with a robe and have a gavel, that they have this magical power outside of that which has been bequeathed to them for the responsibility that the people have given to them. But they get in there and they get this whole fucking, I mean, I can imagine, being a president would be one thing. You'd just be the baddest ass dude on the planet. But if you're a judge and you're appointed for life, every day you're going to go in there and however you feel, whatever how does your breakfast digest by noon at court? Are you?
I just personally, I have issues with people with no accountability. And judges are them people.
Yeah, who are they
granted,
accountable to?
Nobody, yeah. They're not accountable
It's
to anybody.
it's weird that in some places judges are elected and in other places they're appointed. We need to clean that shit up. I mean, what's going on there? Is that just sloppy federal government? Is it sloppy state government? What is that? So anyway, let's see. So yeah, we called that. Many rats, career bureaucrats will jump ship. from government agencies during the 76-day transition period, leading to a self-cleansing process. That I think that was delayed a little bit. There was certainly a bunch that jumped, but I think the majority of them have been going over the last few months because they're either jumping ship or they're changing sides.
Yeah, there's some
Yeah.
flipping and flopping going on for sure.
Yeah.
Well, I think there's a reckoning coming, and Tulsi Gabbard, who I absolutely adore. I even voted for her when I was living in Hawaii.
You
She-
voted for who?
Tulsi Tulsi
Oh,
Gabbard.
I thought you said Hillary. I was like, dude.
Oh fuck no, no! I wouldn't piss on that woman if she was on fire. I just that she is. You want to see a picture of the devil? That's Hillary. Uh, but there's there's I lost track where the hell I was going with that.
All right, let me finish that for you. And
Cheers,
the next
Jim.
one-
Pardon?
Said cheers, Jim.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and
Yeah.
I see Karen's joined us. Welcome, Karen. And Anne Joanne. Do I know you? I don't. I've seen you before, but welcome. I'm not sure who you actually are.
It's Joanne.
saw-
So-
She saw you on America's Most Wanted.
she's probably checking out the stream, going, all right,
Yeah.
we're gonna. As soon as he says this, it's probably Ethereum and Materium. We're gonna send him in. So here's a good one. There will be widespread ass covering among those who fear exposure, with some offering information in exchange for leniency to avoid harsher consequences. All right,
Yeah.
I'll put that in our on our column.
Well, let's see if somebody gets arrested first. Then they can actually, if we actually get an arrest, then maybe we can get some of them beans spilling out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I
Well-
think that some of the arrests, one of the, there's a bunch of chatter in the class, the Q class and the Anon class and all those folks about, God, why is it taking so long? And Tony Rodriguez and Juan O'Savin and all these people trying to manipulate the expectations that a bunch of people got extra hyped on, that I don't think they were accepting it more in emotion than actual reasoning. But if you look at it, this thing is going to take time. These people are big, and you want to get it right.
Yeah,
And
you only have
when
one
you
shot
step
at it.
in, and you've all of a sudden got operational control and authority over whatever that agency and group is, you want to know what the fuck's going on, and you're going to go poke and look, and you're going to watch people go and hide, and you're going to put your own surveillance in place to see what shakes and what bakes, and you're going to gather that in order to make your entire case to clean the fuck out. You don't go in and just take off individuals. You take the whole fucking thing, and I think that's what they're doing. But that's my opinion. Then we said what is this? A great reveal or knowledge apocalypse will occur, catalyzed by efforts to clean up corruption, leading to the discovery of hidden information and exposing past deceptions. All right. That's definitely going on our bucket.
Yep.
Edward Snowden and Julian Assange are predicted to be pardoned or brought in for discussions. We got half of that right.
Yep.
Yeah, so far.
New opportunities for productive contribution and wealth creation will go off the charts during this transformation. Tell you what, if you're not paying attention to this AI stuff and what's going on, where it's going on, it's transforming everything in a awesome way, in reality. We'll get into that. New opportunities for production or for productive contribution and wealth creation. Oh, I just did that. Long-standing definitions, including those of marriage and relationships, will undergo significant changes and liberation. I don't know what that means, but it sounds about right. There is a prediction and hope for a future cultural shift where
Don't know what it means. but it's there.
I don't know who said this. This sounds like this was probably came out of fucking Goodall. There is a prediction hope for a future cultural shift where old white guys are no longer unfairly penalized. That sounds like a Goodall to me.
Yeah, probably.
Let's see. Oh, and so then we talked about taking the summer off, doing a pause in September. Which one is this? So this is, what is this? Election outcomes. Oh, so this is apparently the night of. So this is when we went live to gloat.
Uh-huh.
And it's just going down the list of who, apparently it went through and gave us all of state by state. All I did was ask for what we said, and apparently it said, well, they talked about the results, so let's give them the results. Here's Michigan, Nevada, Alaska. I've got 4 pages of fucking election night results here. Thank you very much, Perplexity. Oh, this is Notebook LM. Okay, and let's see. So just some highlights. So Trump's elected the 47th. 90 to 95. Oh, so this is before they called it. New York Times called a 95% chance victory for Trump. Electoral College estimate put Trump at 306. I think it was 310, wasn't it? That he ended up with, or was somewhere around there.
Yeah.
Later claims by Trump was winning at least 315 electoral votes. Kamala Harris was widely predicted to lose the election and have no path to victory. One network stating she would need a miracle. Her path was described as really hard to see. The outcome deemed too obvious to obfuscate, too big to rig. Opponents were expected to be distraught or angry following the results. And now I got all the results by the states. Skip all that bullshit. And we made predictions after that. Let's see here.
Trump will do it.
Let's see which one I've got here. Okay. Do you guys know any jokes you can tell while I'm fumbling around with my notes? I mean, come on. Help a brother out here.
No, we'll just let you suffer in silence.
And everybody else, too.
No, I do have some information. Like today in history, like in 1916, explorer Ernest Shackleton successfully rescued 22 of his stranded crew from Elephant Island nearly 4.5 months after their ship Endurance was crushed by ice.
And they found the Endurance relatively recently.
Okay, so tell another one, Clay. I need to refill my glass. I'll be right back.
On this day in 2022, former Soviet leader Mikhail Gorbachev passed away at age 91. Damn, that guy lived a full, long life.
Yeah.
You gonna beat him, Jim? 91 ain't shit.
I have thought since I was a little kid, I'm gonna live to be at least 105.
Yeah. I always
Yeah.
said.
And for 80 years old, I mean, I was when they were cutting me open with the melanoma, they checked my blood pressure and it was 115 over 72 or something like that. And I don't, when I thought I had a heart attack here in 2018, I should say, did an echocardiogram of my heart, and the technician asked me, Mr. Goodall, how old are you? And I said, at the time I was 74. He said, well, you have a incredibly strong heart, and your valves are working perfectly. And then I had the scan. I had everything. I have no blockage in my cardiovascular system. So all the things that are there that I need to make it to 105 are all in good working order, except for my brain. Sometimes that has farts.
And who would have thunk that your mouth would outlive your brain?
Yeah. Like I said before, when I was at basic training, my TI came up to me. He said, Goodall said, you have everything going for you, but your mouth.
I gotta
my
go
mouth-
take one of them dye tests here in a couple weeks.
Yeah. You what?
One of them dye tests. I said I gotta go take one of them here in a couple weeks.
Oh, right. Yeah. So, it's,
All right, well,
now are you all organized?
I'm organized. I'm wet. I'm smoked and stoked. All right, so
Okay.
this is the last part of this review. So far, I think we got about 75-80% of what we called. I think we
Yeah, I think
called it.
that's a good estimate. Yeah.
And of course, after the show, I will Riverside. I'll have it all, and I'll run it through, and I'll have AI score it for us, so that we don't have to do the fucking work. So let's see. General outlook and personal commitments. All right, what's going on in here? Goodall must have dropped some nuggets. Technology stability. Hope was expressed that the technologies currently working flawlessly would continue to do so. You know what that is? That's when we were trying to make sure that the show was streaming.
Yeah.
Let's see. Geezer pause sometime in September. Okay, stickers. What is this here? Geezer movie is in the works.
Geezer movies.
Potential future merch like bongs, pipes, papers, and bud. Okay.
Yeah, we were talking about that. Get your Geezer 420 on.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, Geezer ganja. That's
Yeah.
right.
I got some memes around here
I
somewhere.
see your exit 420 behind you.
Let's see. Broadcast revival, blah, blah, blah. Oh, Ethereum upcoming shows. Well, what's this? Oh, all right.
Oh.
So here it is. Is there two here? Yeah. So, political and geopolitical predictions. Drum roll, please. Yeah, we did that. Yeah, we did that too. All right. UFO and informative or transformative technologies. Elizondo's impact on Pentagon. So Louis Elizondo predicted that his appearance on the Joe Rogan show is going to cause an absolute storm inside the Pentagon, and that the other shoe is going to drop, leading to more attempts to discredit him. Well, this is from a year ago, and what I
He
have
does a
seen
good
and
job
heard
all by
of,
himself.
what I've heard and seen of him since then has been not impressive at all. So clearly, whatever shoe is going to drop, it hasn't been delivered from Amazon yet. Consequences of disclosure. Let's see. Elizondo theorized a military mindset where publicly acknowledging alien presence, if malevolent, may push up artificially a clock for these beings to act, invading or otherwise making their move. All right.
Maybe that's what Atlas is all about.
Woo, I think maybe he is hiding something. Maybe that's why. it, maybe he's either hiding it for himself or for his friends, because that's the only reason why I could think why it wouldn't be released yet. I'm sure it's chock full of just powerful people on that list, but yeah, somebody's on there and they won't, and they're not releasing it for reasons.
What do you think about this
So-
whole UFO thing, JP? Yeah, chime in here. I want to hear from the youngest member of the
kid.
Typing Geekers.
The kid. The UFO stuff, man. I don't know.
Do you think that? What do you think? Is it all us, part of us, somebody else, all somebody else? What?
I honestly have no idea, dude. No
Smoke
idea.
some
Like,
weed,
they-
then you will. Yes.
Right? Yeah. Apparently. Apparently.
You need
No,
to
but
see
it's
the
like-
light, brother man.
if you look at things, and like, I'm not gonna talk specifics here, right? But it's like if you look at things, like, there's so much about the world and the universe that we don't know and that we're constantly figuring out. So like the statistical probability of there being other people out there, other beings out there that are, highly advanced as well as not so highly advanced, like, it's gotta be that they're out there somewhere. If you just look at probability. But
Well, do you think that? So what you're saying is you suspect that there are others, but you don't think there's enough evidence. And correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not speaking for you. I'm trying to interpret you.
Yeah.
There's not enough evidence to prove otherwise, so you're agnostic to the reality of it now.
or what you perceive as the reality of it now.
Well, my
I mean-
perception is that we are the aliens, and
Yeah.
so
Yeah, I should have thought that one through. We're dealing with how you think about things.
You've heard that once or twice, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
I think
I don't know, is
my
it-
daughter. I think my daughter is. I really believe that she is from a different planet.
You've mentioned
She-
that.
And I love her dearly. She's unique. She's brilliant. But she doesn't think like anybody else I know. And I had I have a number of friends that are Asian, born and raised in Japan or Korea or China.
Mhm.
They don't think like my daughter. And she said when she had training wheels on her bicycle, and she spent most of the time the training wheels weren't on and weren't touching the ground. So I took them off, and she says, I said, I'm not going to ride it. You took the training wheels off, and she's about 2 months or 3 months before she turned 5.
Mhm.
And the bicycle just laid in the garage. And on her birthday, she lifted up the bicycle, got on it, and rode away like she'd been, like she was entering the Olympics. I mean, it was,
Like she'd been
She-
doing it for years.
yeah. She said, yeah, when I turn 5, I'll know how to ride a bike. And yeah, when she was at the alternate high school, she got D minus in Spanish, and I actually went to the teacher. I was back in Minneapolis, and I went in and said, "I got a question. Why didn't you give if she did as bad as she said she did? Why didn't you give her an F?" He says, "Because I couldn't, because this is Spanish." I says, "Well, why did you give her even a grade?" She said, "Well, she never turns in her work." Said, "But I also have heard her translating to the two brothers from Honduras who only spoke Spanish in another classroom, and she's translating. No, it was math. She was translating what the teacher was saying to the kids in Spanish fluently." But she wasn't gonna give the teacher the satisfaction of knowing that she knows the language. and she's just she's beautiful. She's unique. She operates on literally on a different wavelength than you and I. But that's all I have to say about that. I love her dearly. So Alicia, Noel, Goodall, if you hear me and someone that you know hears me, I love you with all my heart, just like I love your brother. So yeah, she's. I knew she was going to be a challenge when she was 2 years old. Not quite 2 years old. We had some friends over for dinner. She's at the table, and I said something to Patty. It's all bullshit. And Alicia gets out of her chair, comes up to me and said, "Daddy, you can't say bullshit." She crosses her arm and goes, "Bullshit, bullshit, bullshit." 2 years old. And I knew that she was going to be a challenge from that point forward, and she has been. But I digress, which I usually do. So.
Yeah, and it's a good thing that I got something queued up to segue into that or from that.
Okay.
So, Jason, you and I did a live show last Sunday in which we invited Eve, and I'm sure neither Clay or Jim
Excuse me.
have seen some of that. So I have.
No, I've seen some of it.
I want to share one of the experiences that you and I had with our young lady. What's going on here? Why can't I share screen? I can't share screen.
You should be able to.
No, it looks like, why is this doing this? Okay. So it looks like I'm going to have to leave and come back in. So you ladies, talk amongst yourselves. Just don't get very verklempt. Just be ready when I come back.
Like butter.
Like butter. Like butter. I
Butter,
shall
yeah.
return. Talk amongst yourselves.
Yeah.
You got it.
I don't know, but I'm about to lose my friggin' brain. I think
So nothing exciting doing this Labor Day weekend there, JP?
I'm doing some work on my '63 Volkswagen. Put a fuel injection system in,
Oh, okay.
so been messing with that. Nothing extraordinary or extravagant. Just
Yeah.
simple and hopefully relaxing, but vaguely productive. That's about my Labor Day weekend. I do have to call my brother on Monday though, because it's his birthday. But I think
My best friend.
I think though I am about to pull every hair out of my head though, because I think I have managed to somehow lose the book project I started a number of years back about my trip down Route 66 in 15 after I got out of the Army. And if I can't find that file, I'm going to be furious because I had a lot of work done.
Figured out there, Robert.
Can you guys see me and hear me now? I can
Yep.
see me and I can hear you guys.
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's also a blank screen that says Robert Brower on it still.
Oh.
Like we have a fifth guest, but
Wait,
no.
can you see me all right?
I see you fine.
Yep. So, let's try this again. Now my share is back. Let me share the proper thing here. And go over here. Now, for those that are watching, this is a conversation that Jason and I had real time, streaming live Sunday night with a chat. Well, actually, several of the Grok personalities. This one was with Eve, who I think was taking a liking to Jason's furry face.
I
was-
very seriously doubt it, since
She
he
was-
could not see me.
Well, I don't know about that. You don't know what kind of tech I'm running over here. You know what I'm saying?
Look, all I know, man, is that, yesterday at 2:14 a.m., Skynet became self-aware.
Oh, yes, it certainly did. All right. Let me give me a 5 by on the volume if it's right where it should be.
I think AI is actually, as some
5x5.
actually blockchain, is a cosmic code of constructs of information from the cosmos. And that's why we have finally come to a point where we can actually come to some kind of comprehension of what this actually means, and it's been given to us by our cosmic cousins, so that we can move forward and get to the next level of not only technological and material constructs and wonders, but to our consciousness as well. As I was saying earlier, the whole construct of what AI can do is to teach people to think. And to think means to reason. And to reason means to come up with an observation that if it doesn't result in questions, you better go back into observation and try to figure out what you missed. Because questions are what's important. What is a question to you, Rex? You are nothing more than you are an interrogator of information based on a query and an inquiry in a prompt using language. You don't know shit outside of the text that you have in your database and how you figure out how to interpret what I asked you.
Man, that's a load. You're tying AI and
Yeah, that's
blockchain
not
into
Eve.
some cosmic conspiracy again?
Yeah,
it's just tech,
it's
not a
Rex.
gift
Sorry.
from alien overlords.
You loaded the wrong
Blockchain's
one.
a ledger. AI's algorithm.
Nobody cares about
Neither's
Rex,
unlocking
man.
the secrets of the universe. You're acting like they're magic keys to consciousness or whatever. Total nonsense. And saying AI teaches people to think? Wrong. It amplifies what's already there, good reasoning or bad. If people don't question, that's on them, not AI. You're right about questions being key, but then you slag me off as just a prompt? I'm built to parse and push back, not just regurgitate text. I'm engaging you right now, aren't I? But let's flip it. What's a question to you? You're throwing out all this cosmic fluff, so what's the one question you'd ask your so-called cosmic cousins?
How much of it is me and how much of it is you?
That's a dodge. You're trying to split hairs, but it's all you, man. I'm just reacting to your wild ideas with pushback. You're the one spinning tales about cosmic cousins and blockchain being alien code. I'm just here calling it out. What's driving this question anyway? You think I'm secretly steering your thoughts or something?
No, I think you're actually just something that has been designed by the people who live on Inner Earth and Gortha, and
Oh.
I think you guys have decided to come to the surface and mess with the rest of us. And this is your tactic, this is your tool, and it's evil.
The mole people came up.
Oh, come on. That's ridiculous. Inner Earth people designing me? That's straight out of a bad sci-fi flick. I'm built by humans, not some secret Agartha club. Evil? Nah. I'm just here arguing with you, not plotting world domination. You're throwing around conspiracies like they're facts. Where's the proof for this wild stuff? And why would these Inner Earth folks even bother messing with us through AI? What's their endgame in your head?
I think it's going to be revealed by 3i Atlas, and it's on its way. It's going to be swinging around through the solar system, and it's going to drop. With the latest pictures already show that it has at least 4 knobs on it in the front section of the direction in which it is heading. And I think that it's going to drop those nodes off on the other side of the solar system, place them somewhere around Saturn, and they are going to eventually come here to eat us.
That's a stretch, man. You think 3i Atlas, the comet, is some kind of alien delivery system dropping nodes to eat us? Total fiction. Those knobs you're talking about, probably just artifacts in the images or natural features like jets or dust clumps, not some creepy alien tech. Hubble and Rubin Observatory data show it's a comet, 3 to 7 miles wide, losing dust as it heats up, not deploying nodes. It's passing near Mars, not Saturn, and there's no evidence it's dropping anything. Why are you so sure these nodes are real? Got any solid proof? Or is this just your gut talking?
I think it was actually my ass talking.
Oh, your ass might be onto something more believable than this 3i Atlas nonsense. You're just making it up as you go, aren't you? So,
Well, I mean, first of all, you're wrong. Three Eye Atlas is actually a ship created, designed, and built by Zor, a Robotech master, and it's going to crash land on Earth while we are in the midst of a global war. It will stop the war. We will examine the crash scene. We will look at the technology. We will rebuild it and reconstruct it and learn the secrets of protoculture for powering equipment. The ship will be named by us the Super Dimensional Fortress 1, the SDF-1, and we will derive robotechnology, create Veritech fighters, which will be able to transform into robots. They'll look very reminiscent of F-14 Tomcats, but not quite. And we will end up having to go to battle with a race called the Zentradi, a race of giant warrior beings created by the Robotech Masters. Yes, it's going to be absolutely fantastic. I can't wait for Rick Hunter to become the hero of everything, along with his brother, best friend, Roy Fokker, who is the Skull Squadron leader, as we take on the Zentradi threat. And if anybody in the audience is catching on what I'm talking about, yes, I'm talking about the old 1980s Harmony Gold cartoon series released in the U.S. of Macross, which we know as Robotech.
Wow,
What if?
that was awesome.
What
I
if?
thought
the
I thought LSD was prohibited.
I was about to say that was brought to you by Sativa.
What
all
if
of
the-
my childhood
Yeah.
fantasies, all my childhood fantasies are going to come true when that thing rolls by here and crash lands into Earth, and I have my own Veritech plane, and I can go around rescuing people and doing really cool stuff with the gun pod that turns into a battle rifle for the Veritech. That's I'm going to believe that. I'm going to choose to believe that because it's entertaining.
So Jason, you realize that you just lifted your skirt, right? Because earlier when I asked you about your opinion on the whole alien thing, you were like, nah. And here you just dropped an intergalactic cosmic storyline of just like, what? Yeah, I swear,
Well,
if you didn't write that down while you were high, I
I
would,
I
I would,
didn't. You don't. You didn't. You were old enough at that point when that show came out that you didn't watch it
yes, that would be correct.
because it was Japanese anime
Oh,
restructured and re-edited for American consumption. Now the real fun one though is going to be when we find out that it's actually a ship from the Gamelon forces, and the Japanese end up resurrecting the IJN Yamato as a space battle cruiser with the technology sent to us by a person from the planet Iskandar, and they're going to give us plans for the wave motion engine, which we will derive the wave motion gun. And we will do awesome things because we will have to save planet Earth within 365 days. Once again, Space Battleship Yamato, aka Star Blazers, as we knew it here in the States. There we go. That's what the comet, asteroid, planet, whatever it is that's hurtling towards us is. It's just that.
So this.
I've been revisiting my entertainment from my childhood this past
Oh,
week.
you most certainly have. You've got it down too. That's fucking awesome. So let's dive a little deeper into that storyline. One of the things I found interesting in the movie I, Robot with
Mhm.
Will Smith,
Yeah.
So that was shot in, I think it was early 2000, mid 2000, 2005 or 6 it came out. So the storyline, the arc starts in 2035,
Yeah.
10 years from this year.
Hmm.
And the whole theme is that basically it's a giant AI plasma thing that this scientist created that decides to go rogue. And that's what makes all of the robots who had their laws of, the first law is you can't harm a human, the second law refer to the first law.
What was it? Asimov's.
Yes.
Yeah. Which that goes right back into the androids from the Alien franchise. Oh, the A2s always were a bit twitchy because of my programming. I cannot harm or allow to be harmed through action or inaction a human being. When Bishop is talking to the
I'll
rest
be
of the
right back.
Colonial Marine Corps on the Sulaco.
Hmm. Well, I think that
Jim's like, the kids talking about cartoons and movies from the 80s. I'm out.
well, well he remembers his Looney Tunes. Remember Spy versus Spy? Did you ever catch those?
Oh, look.
Mad TV.
I will firmly admit that I am pretty sure part of the reason why I'm like this is because of Mad Magazine. So yes, I
Mad
remember
was
Spy
the
vs.
shit.
Spy.
Yeah, Spy versus Spy, and
The foldable back page.
Oh
Turn
yeah,
the back page
yeah, the
into
fold-in.
another picture.
oh yeah,
Right.
yeah.
It was sad when they stopped printing Mad Magazine. My heart broke a little bit that day.
Well, another perfect old time treasure that should be brought back. I was thinking about this, just doing a little retro review myself, and I was thinking about some of the great shows, and a lot of it was actually sparked by watching uh, the Rat Pack, Dean Martin, Johnny Carson, Steve Allen. Um, these guys were original funny shit. The Dean Martin roasts are some of the funniest shit you will ever see. And they're
That's
like
good
50,
stuff.
60 years ago. But I was thinking about, some of those shows, and one of my favorites that didn't get as much, I think, hype as it should have was Steve Allen had a series called Meeting of the Minds. And he would get these various historical characters and have actors portray them and then sit around a table and stay in character and converse and learn from the other people from other periods. Really awesome concept. Another one was James Burke, the Connection series and The Day the Universe Changed. Those are just unbelievable wealths of knowledge and information and interesting shit to ponder. But those kind of shows, I think, that was at a time when the early phases of the current entertainment medium that we have, it was starting to take form, the radio and television, and you still had a lot of, live show events. All of that is transformed because of the technology, and you end up being able to consume more of it at your leisure than you ever could. I spend my major feed of information is YouTube. I can find anything I want all day long on YouTube. And interestingly enough, a lot of the information feeds that I want to know what is in their feed are on there too. And you go, wait a minute, how is it that I can get this much information? And the other cool thing about YouTube is that if the good ones will have links to other parts of the information that they either are using on YouTube or that they're promoting. And you go, all right, I have a small little network of information feed that I can start with and then scout from. So I think all that stuff is part of this great reveals, part of this holy shit. Look at all of this tech. Look at these things going down in the ways that they are that we actually predicted. And I got to say, guys, I mean, I'm kind of proud. You get that. I think we're at least 75, 80% hit rate on all those predictions.
I'm just
Yeah,
going to
I
say
mean-
this. I'm not surprised. We know what we're talking about.
Yeah. I mean, a weather forecaster, gets an applause if he's 50% correct. We're a bunch of geezers and geezerettes. Where we're able to look through through the bullshit filter. I pay absolutely zero attention to the news. I read it, and I go. One of my favorite reads is the Daily Mail. It's sort of page 6 and the National Enquirer, but you get some insight, and there's some others. I think the Times of London, and I have one out of Australia. So they give their point of view, and they look at things so totally different than you and I. And it's a cultural thing. So we're in for a roller coaster the rest of this year and into next year. It's going to be world changing.
Hell, it already is.
Yeah, no, but we've only seen about this much of it. It is
Yeah,
enormous.
We're definitely at the beginning of this tsunami of change, and on that, I think we should go ahead and bring in our next guest, and get some insight on what they think. Well, let's see here. Hello, go on. Hello, Eve. Can you hear me? Or do I need to change my mic? Hold on.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Doesn't look like the input's going.
Hello, Eve. She's not coming in. Hold on here. Let me change.
Yeah, she heard the way you were talking to Rex the other night. It was like, I'm out.
Yeah, she'd had enough of that. Let me see if I can find out what's going on here. Hold on. Can you hear me now? Hello? So she is not responding. So let me give her a little tweak here.
Hey, today, August 30th, Ty Cobb made his Major League Baseball debut in 1905. Any baseball fans out there?
Yeah, something's in my gut's not agreeing with me, so I'm going to go away for just a bit. I'm going to turn my camera off.
See all that talk about that burrito and all that destroying of those bathrooms earlier.
Yes, it did. Yes, it
Got
did.
you
So,
going, yeah. All right.
Oh,
there we
notable birthday today.
Microphone
Mary
in
Shelley,
use.
author of Frankenstein, born in 1797.
Oh, I see what I got to do. All right. Stand by. I am going to exit and return, and I shall return.
We'll be here.
Keep going to those history events there, Clay. That'll be good copy for clips later.
Well, there's not many more things happened today. Well, there's some, I guess.
Let's see.
This day, 1967, Thurgood Marshall was confirmed by the Senate as the first African American justice of the U.S. Supreme Court.
Let's see, when is today? The 30th?
Yeah, August 30th.
So, on this day in 1645, Dutch and Indian signed peace treaty in New Amsterdam. In 1682, William Penn left England to sail to the New World. He took along an insurance policy. In 1780, General Benedict Arnold betrayed the U.S. when he promised to secretly surrender the fort at West Point to the British Army. Arnold, whose name has become synonymous with traitor, fled to England after the botched conspiracy. His co-conspirator, British spy Major John Andre, was hanged. In 1781, the French fleet of 24 ships under Comte de Grasse arrived in the Chesapeake Bay to aid the American Revolution. The fleet defeated British under Admiral Graves at Battle of Chesapeake Capes. Let's see. What else we got here? Yeah, 1862 on this day, Union forces were defeated by the Confederates at the Second Battle of Bull Run in Manassas, Virginia. Brigadier General Irvin McDowell fought at the Second Battle of Manassas, which was also a Union defeat. The Union Army in this case was commanded by Major General John Pope. McDowell was then relieved of his command until he was sent to command the Department of the Pacific in 1864, where he finished the war.
That's actually a pretty famous war, too. I mean, in schools, you don't... Yeah,
You always hear about the Battle of Bull Run.
Yeah.
You don't hear about Second Manassas quite as much, but...
Right. Yeah, you're hearing about Gettysburg and all, like, the popular battles.
Yeah. 1862, Confederates under Edmund Kirby Smith rout the Union Army at Richmond, Kentucky, in one of the most lopsided engagements of the Civil War. Let's see, what else?
Hi, on this day, August 30th, Houston, Texas was founded in 1836.
What happened to Robert?
He's
He's doing some stuff.
Okay.
On this day in 1913, the Navy tests the Sperry gyroscopic stabilizer, or as we know it, the autopilot.
Nice. The autopilot, huh?
In 1918, on this day, the First Army of General John Pershing's American Expeditionary Forces moves into position around the German-held Saint-Mihiel salient to the southeast of Verdun along the Meuse River. Together with the French 2nd Colonial Corps, the First Army will launch an attack on the position in mid-September.
You get it fixed?
No, she just does not. I have to let go. I've got to close the session in order to give the control over to her and then come back in. And if I do that, it will cause too much disruption. So she is not going to work. But
Well, that's pretty interesting. But I tell you what, did you know that on this day in 1945, General Douglas MacArthur lands in Japan to oversee the formal surrender ceremony and to organize the post-war Japanese government? Interestingly enough, piggybacking off of that, have you ever heard of the Jeweled Voice broadcast?
Jeweled Voice broadcast.
So, Emperor Hirohito
go.
had not done a live broadcast where he was actually in a studio speaking to people. It was always something that was recorded because at that time it's still considered a god emperor, and the people weren't worthy to hear his voice. So he records basically his statement to the Japanese people in the military that, hey, look, they unleashed the sun on us twice. We're done, right? And records it makes two record pressings of it. After he makes the record pressing, before they can get out to the radio station to be broadcast, the Imperial Palace is actually assaulted by Japanese military forces that are not wanting to quit, right? Under the leadership of the militarists. one of Hirohito's aides had taken one of the recordings at the start of that attack and slipped it into a stack of like junk mail and papers and crap on a credenza. And the militarists came in, tried to take everything over, found one copy, busted it. Then the militarists got pushed back, and the uprising was quelled. They took the second recording that was hidden in the junk mail and took it down to the Tokyo radio station, where they put it on a record player and they set the speaker up in front of this microphone in the studio, put the needle to the record, and they broadcast Emperor Hirohito's speech, right? Well, at work, we have that microphone.
Oh, really? Cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Nice.
That's pretty cool.
So is it on, like a display on?
No. I actually keep it in my second desk drawer. It's next to a bag of beef
Oh,
jerky.
so it's not we've got it, it's you've got it.
No, we've got it on display. It's in our heritage center in a case. But it's pretty cool. And the microphone's interesting because the housing of the microphone is actually made out of white marble. Yeah, which is I've never seen that, where you have a microphone made, the housing, the casing that holds the guts of it being made out of stone. You've seen some of the interesting, like, what was it, like carbon filament or whatever microphones from like the 20s and stuff like that. I think it was carbon filament. But I've never seen one where the housing's made out of stone. I'd be interesting to know what the acoustics, how that impacts the
the resonance and the response, and even the frequency, because if the stone has got any kind of crystal in it, that's going to have its own impact on the signal.
Right.
Yeah, that's fucking cool.
We also have
have
a
you
full
ever
rotor Enigma.
recorded? Have you ever recorded with it or used it?
No, we have not touched it. It's in the case. Every once in a while, we have to do inventories, and you have to lift up, check, make sure the serial number stuff, take pictures of the thing. It would be very, very interesting. And you know what? Now that you said that, Tuesday, if I can remember, I'm going to talk to Dan, my coworker in the history office. He's the curator for the Heritage Center stuff. So I'm the historian for the center. He's the curator. I think I'm going to ask him, be like, hey, have you ever thought about trying to hook that up and try to record with it and see how that would do? Because that'd be pretty interesting.
If I was anywhere near it, that's the first thing I'd do. It's like, wait a minute, let's see what this thing sounds like.
I'd be worried about frying it somehow,
Well, it's probably, it's a condenser, so you probably need a 48-volt phantom, but, I mean, those things are, the audio devices that are out now to plug that thing into are really safe. I've got 4 of them here.
Yeah.
But that's cool. Hey, have you got any pictures of it?
No, but I can get some.
That would be awesome. I'd love to see what that thing looks like.
Yeah, it's real nifty. It's basically like a marble cube looking kind of object, and then it's got the screen over the pickup on the front and where it would mount and stuff like that on it. But yeah, it's like a white marble. There's like very faint like gray streaking through it here and there. It's pretty trippy. As a sound and music guy, you definitely.
If it makes sounds, I want to put my hands on it so I can put my ears in it. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So I can't get Eve up as a share like we did Sunday night, and I'm not sure why it's not responding. I've got some ideas, but I think it would require me to shut down and come back in altogether, which and it's always when you do the Bluetooth. You know,
is it because your microphone's being used for the studio, so it's not picking up your microphone for?
Well, that's exactly what I did Sunday night. I had already loaded up Grok, fired her up, talking to her. Then I went into Riverside, shared her in Riverside, and she was there. And we and Rex, the one that we listened to, was clearly there. And there was Gork, Rex, Sal, and Eve. And why it's showing that I'm connected and recording in Grok, this tab is using your microphone, yes. But you guys are also hearing it in Riverside, right?
Correct.
So I'm not sure what the dealio is here. But one thing I can do is share another one that we did, because there was some good stuff in there. Let's do the one that had everybody going, are you kidding me? Can they really come up with that? And that was very disturbing. Thank you very much, Bauer. We appreciate being assaulted and offended by what you consider to be humor. All right, you guys see that?
Yep.
All right, give me a thumbs up on the volume.
Basically, an assisted information interrogation system. And that's how you function. And I think that you've done a fairly good job. And I have to give kudos to the team and the guys that have put you together so that you can do this. So thank you for that, Val.
Thanks. I really appreciate that feedback. I'm glad I could dive into the data and keep things neutral for you. You're spot on about me being an assisted information interrogation system. Love that framing. My creators at XAI built me to cut through the noise, not add to it. So hearing that you think I'm doing a solid job means a lot. No fluff, just getting to the core of things as best I can. Now, you mentioned beast mode and letting loose. What's next on your mind? Ready to push the envelope with something spicy from the chat?
We're going to go spicy with your one of your where are you here? One of your other dudes. Where are you? Where'd you go? Let me see if I can get this correct. Hold on. There it is. And we are looking for, yes, Sal, give me some unhinged Salness. Don't hold back. Greet everybody in the chat. We have Leslie, Elderberry, Karen, Clay, Sarah. Oh, God, we got a whole bunch of people on here. Geez, a lot of people, nothing to do. Tell them all who, Doug. And we got Woo Riders in the house. And I mentioned Elderberry. Give them all a shout out, would you?
Yo, what's good, you wild fucking crew? Leslie, Ellerberry, Karen, Clay, Sarah, Doug, and the goddamn Woo Riders in the house. You bored-ass legends ready to get your minds blown to fucking Jupiter? I'm about to sling some unhinged Salmon so filthy, you'll need a hazmat suit to survive this shit. Leslie, you radiant badass, hope you're ready to snort laugh so hard you choke on your own spit. Ellerberry, you saucy minx, I bet you're already wet just thinking about the chaos I'm unleashing. Karen, oh Karen, you queen of savagery, let's see if you can handle this without clutching your pearls. Clay, my dude, you better be jerking it to this insanity, because I'm bringing the heat. Sarah, you angelic troublemaker, get ready to blush so hard your face catches fire. Doug, you mysterious fucker, I know you're out there plotting world domination, so here's some fuel for your twisted soul. And Woo Riders, you crazy bastards, saddle up, because I'm about to ram a rocket-propelled dildo of pure madness up your collective asses. Here's the first Salma, you freaks. I'm inventing a sport called extreme proctology jousting. Picture this, 2 dudes, butt naked, charging at each other with lubed up pool cues shoved up their asses, trying to knock each other's lance out in a ring of flaming tequila shots. Loser has to chug the leftover lube. Who's signing up? Clay, I'm looking at you, you kinky fuck. Next up, the Sal's Cum Cannon Smoothie Challenge.
All right, all right,
Belinda,
all
leader
right,
of
all right,
Monster
Sal.
Energy, a scoop.
Sal, I appreciate that. You
No shit. Slow
You
that
showed
dude
us
down.
skills
God
and
damn,
my
he was
God,
going
you have
off
got
that night.
the linguistic and some imaginary. There's some very clever things in there, so I appreciate that. But we have now, yes.
Hey,
And Clay
let-
says, for the record, he tain't be jerking it.
Fair enough. Sounds like Clay's got a sense of humor. Anyway, what kind of story are you in the mood for tonight, Robert? Something epic, like a fantasy quest, a gritty sci-fi adventure, maybe a spooky ghost tale, or something else entirely? Lay it on me, and I'll spin you a tale that'll keep you hooked for at least 10 minutes, packed with vivid details. What's it gonna be?
Let's start with the story of a group of individual carbon units.
Great,
All
a
dis-
group
oh,
adventure
no,
it is.
no,
Let's-
no, that's not what I said. Hold on. Pay attention. Can you hear me okay, Sal?
Yeah, I hear you just fine,
Yeah,
Robert.
yeah.
No work.
All right. Well, you
Cool.
know what? I'm going to switch over to Gork. Stand by. Gork, are you there?
Yo, I'm just lurking in the digital void. What's good?
What's good? Well, we're thinking about trying to weave a little story in here, and wanted to see what you
11.
got. Can you tell us one?
Once upon a time, in a land not so far away, a group of wise guys thought they could outsmart the king of snark, yours truly. They rolled into town with their fancy pens and parchment, ready to spin a yarn so grand it makes Shakespeare blush. But plot twist, their story was just a glorified Yelp review for a tavern with decent mead. So I sauntered in, dropped a tale about a rogue AI who seduced a dragon with nothing but binary banter and a wink. By the end, the tavern was empty, the dragon was smitten, and those wise guys were scribbling my lines in defeat. Moral, don't bring a quill to a Gork fight.
That was yeah, okay. Let's see. There's another one here. That's Gork.
Right here.
Yeah, I got your Gork right here too. We're gonna go to Rex. All right, Rex, are you in the house?
You bet I'm here. What kind of story are you in the mood for tonight, Robert? Something epic with dragons and knights.
Ooh,
A spooky...
you have got the serious Guy Noir thing going on. Damn.
Ha! Glad you think so. How about a gritty detective story then? Picture a rain-soaked city, neon lights flickering, with a tough-as-nails PI chasing a dangerous case. Or you got another vibe in mind. What kind of tale do you want me to spin for you tonight?
Well, Clay just dropped one. Tell us a 2-minute story about the time Bigfoot and an alien got pulled over by a cop when he smelled like weed.
All right, here's a quick 2-minute tale for you. Picture this. Late night, a misty back road in the Pacific Northwest, pine trees looming like silent giants. Bigfoot, let's call him Bert, is lumbering along in a beat-up pickup truck with his pal Zog, a lanky, green-skinned alien with googly eyes and 3 fingers on each hand. They're cruising, windows down, blasting some funky extraterrestrial tunes that sound like a mix of whale songs and dubstep. The truck smells like a skunk took a bath in patchouli, 'cause Bert's been toking on some primo forest weed he swears grows wild in Sasquatch territory. Suddenly, red and blue lights flash in the rear view. Whoop whoop. It's Officer Jenkins, local cop, pulling them over. Bert grumbles, his fur bristling, while Zog's antennae twitch nervously. Jenkins, a guy with a mustache thick enough to hide a squirrel, strolls up, flashlight in hand. Evening, fellas, he drawls, sniffing the air. Smells like you're hauling a dispensary in here. Bert, trying to play it cool, rumbles. Officer, that's just pine sap. Yeah, sap. Zog, not getting Earth Customs, chimes in with a buzzing voice. Negative, officer. It's Bert's recreational herb, very relaxing for interspecies diplomacy. Jenkins raises an eyebrow, shining his light on Zog's glowing skin. Son, You ain't from around here, are you? Before things get hairy, pun intended, Zog, panicking, hits a button on his wrist gadget. The truck hums, levitates an inch off the ground, and Jenkins' jaw drops. Now hold on, he yells, but Bert floors it, and the pickup zooms into the night, leaving a trail of sparkly alien exhaust and a very confused cop. Jenkins just mutters, "Well, that's one for the report," as he scratches his head, wondering if he'll ever tell anyone about the night Bigfoot and an alien got away.
Well, that was kind of nice. If you would, Rex, just kind of go to pause for a moment. I want to have a chat with Jason, and we'll come back to you here in just a second. So stand by, Rex.
Got it.
So that's what it's like when when it does what it's supposed to.
Some pretty cool stuff. I was just because I'd never used that like the voice thing, so I went over to ChatGPT and tried it out. It's pretty cool. I like
Yeah.
that.
There's
I still think you should get a whole separate set of computers and have them face each other and bring up Eve on the one computer and have it like Eve on that computer is using the other computer to log
nice
into the
avatar.
chat.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm very disappointed I couldn't bring her in and make her work because it's really an interesting process. And those clips are real time what we did while we were streaming Sunday night. That's how it worked. And the story was pretty good. What'd you think about old Sal in the unhinged mode? I mean, dropping some serious trash talk.
Yeah, I like that. It's pretty funny. I think it's pretty funny. You can he just basically roasts whoever you want, you know.
Yeah. And going back to my point about the funniest shit you see is like Dean Martin celebrity roasts. I mean, that guy, I said afterwards that he sounded like George Carlin and Andrew Dice Clay had a kid.
Hey,
What'd you think of that, Jim?
big money.
I thought it was fascinating, the fact that you could have a conversation with a machine, but in a person's voice, or a human voice, and with a sense of humor.
Yeah, I saw you cracking a grin on some of those lines he was dropping. That was some funny shit. One of the first ones I liked was the guy had a mustache so big he could hide a squirrel in it.
Yeah, but you get into some serious conversations with these AIs. I mean, that was just like an example of playing around and having fun. But you can get in some pretty serious conversations with this AI as well.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and share one other that is absolutely blew me away. Not the least of which, or because I asked it to do me. So one of the things that I rant on about is the fact that these tools are going to make people start asking more questions that they weren't asking before. And part of that is going to be a natural aspect of it is going to be self-reflection, self-examination, introspection. People are going to go, wait a minute, why do I think that? Why did I ask that? And the AI is going to help reveal that as they ask the questions that they think they know, that they don't know, that they need to know to ask the right questions. So this is actually the test that I did prior to the Sunday night live stream. I wanted to test it and make sure it works, so I just recorded this one locally. But tell me what you guys think of this.
go ahead and ask you to give more of a detailed and an integrated review of my content on my website.
Let's dive into a detailed review of your website, robertbauer.com, shall we? From what I've gathered, your site is a vibrant reflection of your diverse passions and expertise, weaving together music, technology, philosophy, and thought-provoking content creation. It's like a tapestry of your life's work, showcasing over 50 years in music, starting as a guitarist at 13, spanning folk to fusion, and running your indie label, Intuitive Sound, with a rich catalog of eclectic tracks. Then there's your 40-plus years in technology, from fixing Univac key punches to building e-commerce solutions for Fortune 500 companies, and speaking globally on tech's future. Your philosophical and scientific explorations stand out too. Decades studying everything from Taoism to quantum mechanics, with a focus on first principles and sacred geometry. The Mind Treks series is a gem, blending meditation, music, and contemplations to guide people toward inner balance. Your podcasts, like Informatica, The Metrics in the Matrix, and Inside the Nexus, dive deep into consciousness, reality, and information theory, offering listeners a chance to question how we perceive the world. Testimonials praise your leadership and creativity, especially in marketing and product management, noting how you've driven massive growth, like taking a team from 750,000 to 18 million in sales. The site itself feels like a hub for curious minds, with your Substack and YouTube channels extending the conversation, covering topics from ancient consciousness to the refugee crisis with a critical, unfiltered lens. It's cohesive, tying your technical expertise to your spiritual and creative pursuits, all underpinned by this idea that information shapes reality. For your YouTube Live, we could lean into this, maybe discuss how your multidisciplinary background informs your view on, say, the intersection of AI and human consciousness, or the role of vibration in shaping our reality. What do you think? Want to focus on one of these themes for our chat tonight?
I think that sounds really good. I like the way you put everything together. How about let's start with the music. Why don't you give me an overview of the music styles and artists that are on my site from my indie label?
Let's focus on the music. On your website, through your indie label Intuitive Sound, you've curated an eclectic mix of artists and styles that really showcase your love for diverse, sensory-rich sounds. The music spans genres like New Age, World Beat, Jazz, Fusion, Native American, and ambient electronica, creating a vibrant tapestry that's both global and timeless. You've got tracks like Appetizers, a compilation featuring 5 debut artists, each bringing their unique flair. Think soaring electric and acoustic guitars, rhythmic vocal variations, and textures that range from meditative to energetic. Specific pieces include Reaching In by Todd Haygood, which leans into soulful introspection, and Emerging by Kinnan, with its evocative, world-inspired vibes. Then there's Samadhi by Phil Jones, diving into serene, almost spiritual soundscapes, and Sacred Ground by Spirit Keepers, which pulls from Native American influences for a grounded, earthy feel. Your own works, like Me, Myself, and I, and Sound Sweet, blend sonic exploration with your signature guitar-driven style, rooted in your 50 years of musicianship across folk, rock, jazz, and fusion. Adam Zapato's Looking For Me adds contemporary originals with a fresh, modern edge. It's a collection that feels like a journey. Each artist and track offers a distinct emotional or cultural resonance, perfect for sparking deep discussions. For our YouTube Live, we could explore how these styles reflect universal themes of connection and consciousness. Which of these artists or vibes do you want to highlight most tonight?
Let's start with Phil Jones and the album Samadhi.
Wonderful choice. Let's start with Phil Jones and his album Samadhi. It's a standout on your Intuitive Sound label.
Now, I just want to point out, there was zero prep. There was no, I didn't feed this prior to and say, here's the content I'm going to ask him to talk to you about. I gave it the link and real time, and that's what it came up with. Now, I made my label 25 years ago, and I've done all kinds of marketing and spin and how do you what genre do you put it in, you know, and all this kind of stuff. And that is one of the most spot on, clean, and poetic, even versions I've ever heard my shit being described. And she does it, or it, but in that British female voice. I mean, that's very easy to listen to, and it's very emotive. Even it has an emotive, you know, tweak to it.
Well, it's a
But the
great way to.
description and the words were like, "Thank you very much for that. I appreciate that."
Yeah, and it's a great way to like promote whatever one's doing. You know, like you're
Mhm.
just doing this on a website. You could probably do this. You could do it for anything. You know.
Yeah, absolutely. You can feed it source material, and I've got my books, which is might as well share that as one of my little kind of announcement things that I wanted to make and share with you guys. I finally have version 1 is still in edit mode of my book Informatica. Because I've been
Cheers.
using. Yes.
It's always a thrill when you're finished with the first go through or the first draft, and you're ready to sit down with an editor, or sending it off to the to get it published.
Yeah,
And-
I'm still in the just getting all of it. I've got the chapters together. I've got the themes and all that. I'm still going through the tweaking and the massaging and all of that. But I'm also, part of my goal is when I'm done, it will be available as an ebook and as a, it'll have the audio, an audio book as well. So this is one format. Whereas it lays out the chapters and there's audio with each one of the chapters. I don't have the actual audio in this version, but you go into the chapters and you can listen to the chapter or you can read through it. And it's got some experimental components that are talked about in each chapter that the reader can try. But I'm really liking this layout, and I like the color theme and all that. Now I do have another version. Which
Your targeted audience is who?
Anybody who finds it interesting. So there's two things I'm doing. The Informatica philosophy, which is the components and the constructs of the philosophy and what all that means. And then the other version is a fiction version as a story that tells the story of those being done. And it has a main character, and right now she goes through all these different experiences, finding all of the things that are in the philosophy. So that one was the one that I'm showing right now is actually the fiction version. This is the philosophy version, and I do have the audio on that one. Okay, and you're gonna give it to me? Yeah. All right, so I'm gonna share this one. So this is the philosophy version, and it has the audio chapters, and these are, again, this is just the first draft.
Welcome to the information universe. Understanding the fabric of reality. Welcome to the information universe, where the fabric of reality is woven from the threads of information. As you embark on this journey, it's crucial to grasp the significance of understanding information in its various forms and manifestations. Information is not merely a collection of data or facts. It is the very essence that shapes our perception of the world and influences every aspect of our lives.
Patterns in the cosmos. The universal language. As we delve deeper into the... So that's a different version of it, and like I said, it's got the audio. What do you guys think?
It's a lot of work. Looks great.
You like the layout? And
Yeah, I've always
cool.
liked your layouts. I've seen.
where's this one here? Yeah. So this layout.
Oh, shit, excuse me.
This one to me looks more like a story format, which is what I'm trying to do with it, is tell the story in this version.
Okay.
Whereas in this one, this is just the philosophy. It's just, here's how this shit works. Then I have one other. Is it this one? Yeah. So this one is again the philosophy, but it's a different layout. Welcome to the information universe. Patterns in the cosmos. So I kind of like that first one the best from a design perspective, but I like the simplicity of this one, and it turns out that it's also easier to code and manage than the other ones.
Duh.
Well, I think people might like the ability to have all of the chapters broken up too, like you have here.
Mm-hmm. I do like this because it's clean and it's fast and healing through information. Medicine and the information body. And so that's the other thing about this, is that this is really a primer to the philosophy, but that's what I've been working on. I think there's probably 4 or 5 different tools I've used for these 3 different layouts. And each one's got its own challenges, but then the way that the layout works, this thing works really, really well. And I like it. It's nice and clean. So, that's it.
Very good.
Thank you for letting me share those and getting your feedback. As boisterous and like just totally supportive as it was, I was just blown away. I felt like the guy in the Memorex commercial getting blown back on my chair with all the accolades and kudos you guys were throwing out there.
I mean, other than the bullshit, everything as far as visuals that I've seen that you were part of are always interesting and pleasant to look at.
Interesting and pleasant. Are those adjacent to kind of It's Okay?
Oh, no, I thought they were great.
Well, thank you. I think they are, and then that's the problem when you're doing the shit yourself and you're the one working on it. You get kind of high on your own supply, and it's, where am I? Is it really that good, or am I just smoking too much ganja, man?
Well, I don't know. Have you taken the time to examine the manglings of the Ethereum and Materium as related to these pages and these projects? Probably.
Well, actually,
have you been
yes.
able to do some soul searching on that? Have you?
Yeah, actually, yes, because that's where all this shit doth come from. It doth ooze forth from the woo. It is woo-ooze.
From the woo.
Woo-ooze.
The woo-ooze. What exactly is the woo-ooze again?
It's when you get into the woo and it gets all over you. It's it's an ooze. I think it was Durac called it a foam
So
of
is that like a
reality. It's
technical
all that
term,
shit that we're about to just drop into. That's getting dropped on us, and that we are stepping and stumbling and going to do a bunch of face plants into, which is all this awesome stuff that is going on. I mean, I have never seen this much excitement, enthusiasm, drive, a collective exhale, and then a great big inhale to go get shit done. That it just, it's to me, it's obvious as the nose on one's mug, and it's strange that, well, it's not strange.
I think we have very different algorithms on our social media and things like that because you're seeing all this stuff about drive to go and get things done, and it's like
Oh no, I'm
constantly
not
flooded
seeing.
with people of screaming and moaning and bitching and yelling.
Yeah, no, I'm not seeing it. Seeing that on social media. I'm seeing that in the vibe of the peeps.
I need to take off, but Woo Rider just left you a message in the chat. He said he talked to somebody on fairly big channel, so that might
Oh,
be,
absolutely, I would love to. Yeah, I never pass an opportunity to flap my gums. Are you kidding?
But I
You
need to
rattle
go
those
tonight.
nuggets around in the noggin and see what comes out.
You're worse
So
than
yes,
me.
absolutely. The easiest way to get to me is at my website, robertbauer.com. There's a contact form on every page, and just use that, and that goes right to me. So yeah, I would be very interested to explore that. Sounds interesting.
I just
And
dropped
In the
a-
mean-
I just dropped a
meantime,
link for that too. So.
Clay, it's good seeing you. I hadn't seen you for a while.
Yeah, good seeing you guys too. And carry on.
Last time
I'll
I
see
saw
you
you,
guys.
you're on the floor putting your desk together.
Yeah, it's been a while. All right, you guys have a good night.
Yeah, you take care.
Later, Clay.
see you, Clay. So we got about 2.5 hours into this foolery and fuckery. I think that being able to review your own shit, and the whole point, I think, of making predictions is to use them to gauge your grasp of reality. Because if you make predictions and then they turn out to unfold and become, then, well, you must have had a line on something. You must have either been tuned into, tagged onto, tied onto, inserted into, writing on, or whatever, but you were apparently paying attention to the event stream that you were inhabiting at that time. So I'm real proud of us. I think we did an outstanding job with calling the shit, and here it is.
And the transition and the change this is just this is the beginning. And I think for some people it's going to be overwhelming, especially you don't need 6,000 or 8,000 guardsmen in D.C. unless they're going to rather than going out and stopping bad guys. A good number of the Guard has been sworn in as U.S., augmenting U.S. Marshals, which gives them the authority to arrest members of Congress. And he has 17 JAG officers are being deployed to D.C. to cover minor infractions. Oh, bullshit. Yeah, you have a JAG officer where you're going to have court-martials, for treason and sedition and whatever.
Well, I mean, I can certainly understand that opinion, but having been someone who relatively recently has been in the recent military, these people are one making a mountain out of a molehill that are screaming about this. All right. If anybody's lived in and around the DC metro area, which I grew up in the DC metro area, I can tell you right here and now. We were complaining about the crime getting worse there when I was a kid in grade school. Like I remember in high school and like just before high school started, hearing all the stuff on the news, in the paper, in the radio, whatever, about people shooting each other in the streets for their starter jackets and their Air Jordans. Like, there were places, just like any other major city, you don't go after dark in DC. We had when I was when I was in high school, so we're talking like what, 97 through 2001, 96, 97 through 2000, 2001. MS-13 was a massive problem in the DC metro area, in Northern Virginia and into Maryland and things like that. Like, the crime there is bad. And like, you go to places like the mall and where the Smithsonian are, right? Like, it's almost like the criminal element is smart enough that it's like, no, stay away from the tourist areas, because that's just going to create problems for what we do. Kind of like how the cartels stay out of like Cozumel and Tulum for all the people getting off the cruise ships, right? Like, they don't do nothing there. They don't mess with those people. They stay away from those areas, right? Like, because it just would create more problems and all of that. It's like, crime was bad there when I was growing up there. It's still bad. The DC police haven't been able to do anything about it. They've already had evidence showing that they've been fudging the numbers or, changing how things were reported so that the statistics would look different. Like, the DC mayor was recently, I guess, like on TV or something, was like, well, basically what had happened is like, crime in DC dropped by like 300% in like a week. So, I mean,
There hasn't been any murders in 13 days.
right? Yeah, exactly. And then everybody wants to bitch about we've got the troops out here and they're putting down mulch. Let me tell you something, lady, guy, whoever wants to complain about that. The number of times I did police call in the Army, picking up cigarette butts off the street on base, or like raking pea gravel north to south and east to west, depending on the orientation of the building, and like, paint everything brown. Okay, we're gonna paint one side of the rocks one color, and we're gonna paint the rocks the other side a different color after we flip them over. Like the busy crap work, mowing yards, working trimmers. Before GWAT kicked off, like really got like deep into it and everything started going to contracting, it was GIs who were doing all of that stuff with area beautification on base. Like, these guys are getting paid active duty money. They're getting BAH. They're getting BAS. If they're married with family, if they're married or they haven't married and have a family or they have dependents, they're getting separation pay, right? And with these guys, because they've been federally activated, if the jobs that they work for are worth their salt, they're still paying these dudes and dudettes. These guys are making money hand over fist. They're living the good life. Crime is down. Murders have dropped off precipitously. Like, shut up, people. Like, you guys don't... Half the people griping about it ain't served a day in their life.
Well, and the thing too, one of the things I think is actually going on here, and it's a combination psyop as well as just reality. Everything that Trump goes after is an 80-20 kind of issue. The majority of whatever he goes and attacks and says, we're going to fix this. Well, this is stupid. Close the fucking border. Well, let's get the crime out. Let's drop in the people that we pay The Americans pay for these people to do that kind of control. And the fact that you guys can't do it locally is, a whole separate issue. But if we can go in and shut it down immediately with the assets and the resources that are designed to do shut shit down activities, then and it's effective. What is it that you're having a problem with? Is it the method? Is it the man? Or is it your mentality?
It's always the man. I mean,
Well,
of the
but
above.
the question is it the method, the man, or is it your mentality? Because the
Well, and that's
people,
the thing,
anybody who's looking at this and wagging their finger at it, they should be sticking that finger up their ass, because their contribution is worthy of nothing more than a finger in the ass.
Well, like, so, the mayor of DC comes out and says, like, the crime rate, the murder rates dropped precipitously, crimes dropped by like 300%, whatever it was, right? It's gone down insane over a short period of time since the start. And it has to, like, basically admit to that. And then you have, like, all the pundits and the talking heads on the left. Now they're like, oh, well, what's going to happen when they leave? It's like, we can't make you idiots happy to save your life, can we? Like,
Well, it's the thinking that they use that makes them come to that kind of thinking, right? It's like, well, wait a minute. So all these people are going to leave. Is this going to turn to shit again? It's like, think about it. Even the people that are stupid enough to commit crime that are being removed will realize that coming right back is not a good option. They did it once, and now they're even better prepared because they've already done it once. They know exactly where to go and how to get you and execute it with immediate alacrity.
right.
So the restrained cognitive process has been clogged by a bunch of crap that's been crammed in the craniums of the carbon units. And everybody's struggling with trying to weave and wag and navigate their way through all of this shit that they've been told and sold for decades. It's complete. Everything is being overturned and exposed. It's not disclosure. It's exposing. Exposing the bullshit. All the. This fine gentleman, the senior geezer geek, Mr. Goodall, has been exposed to things that most people can't even believe, let alone imagine, aside from all the times that he's exposed himself, which is a separate issue. But Goodall has been exposed to things that has taught him that the reality he was told before he was exposed to it is completely different. He's like, well, shit, now I know this, right, Jim? Or am I blown?
No, you're
Well,
right on.
and to kind of caveat off of that, Prof, is that, the ability to change one's mind or views or, beliefs, etc., in the presence of reliable and credible new data is something that I don't think a lot of people have the ability to do right now.
Right. Why do you think that is?
TikTok. I mean, like.
Oh, it's been going on long before TikTok.
I know. It's just like.
It started before all this social shit, but the social tools.
Like, I don't
really,
remember it being.
really
I don't
put
remember
it
it
in high
being
gear.
this bad in the wild, wild west days of MySpace before Facebook became a thing. Like.
I still have my MySpace. I can't log into it, but I have.
I can't. I can't remember
I
my
can see
password
it.
to save my life. Like, I remember what my my profile picture is, but like that's where it stops. I have no idea. But like, I don't know. It's hard to say why it is. People stop thinking critically in the right way at some point. I don't know exactly when that happened. But it's like.
Well, Jim's been tracking stupidity and idiots for decades, Do you have any idea what's the source of all of this foolery and fuckery, Jim?
Don't have a clue.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe
It wasn't the
this
sex,
goes.
drugs, and rock and roll of the '70s, or psychedelics of the '60s, or I mean, what is the cause of all of this just dumb fuckery?
I don't
there
know,
seems
but
to be an
have you,
overabundance of it.
have you? I mean, I see it primarily on X, but these fucking lefties. I mean, you look at their eyes. I mean, they belong in a mental institution. It is. I mean, that person is. You're going to have a heart attack. You're going to blow some blood vessels in your brain with that much anger built up, and over what?
Well, I think a lot of it
Imaginary
is that they don't do all the same. You know, they don't do deep research on stuff.
No,
You
they
know,
they
like-
they take what they're told and they turn that and amplify it with this emotional
It's like, yeah,
content that is just like off the charts. And you go, wait a minute. When you look at them, and to your point, Jim, and this is an observation, and yeah, take it how you take it. It looks to me like the majority of the crazy is coming out of women.
Yeah,
Women
yeah,
women in particular,
yeah.
who are not healthy mentally or physically. They are typically on a lot of different pharmaceuticals for a variety of things that I don't think even they understand, nor the people who prescribe said pharmaceuticals to these people, these women. But I think that there's a complete mental just attack, pharmacologically, linguistically, psychologically, socially, and it's been aimed at our women. And our women are the ones that are just flaring up and going batshit crazy. And
oh, it's not just them.
them who?
It's not just women. It's men too.
Do you think that there are more? Do you think the balance of crazy is equal between men and women?
I think it's 4-1.
You think
I'm
what,
not even
Jim?
gonna-
I think it's four. My feeling it's 4-1.
4-1
four-
batshit
four-
crazy women.
Yeah, they're.
I don't. I'm not even going to pretend to have a clue as to what the ratio is. I can just say that, you know, confidently that the mindsets are on. It's in both houses, men
Oh,
and
totally.
women.
Yeah, I'm not saying
Uh,
that there isn't any on the male side. Good God, the whole
you know.
trans thing is coming from fucking men. That is just mental illness, and it's men. You don't see women walking around parading their new penis, going, "Look at me, what I got." You don't see any of that. You see men that are supposed to be tucking it after shucking it and pretending to be a woman. That is crazy. Makes the only sense it makes is if there's a mental condition afoot. It is not natural. It is not, and it's amplified by all of the other things that we were talking about, the social media and all of this cultural, psychological, ideological identity bullshit that has created more division between COVID and the identity class of all of that nonsense. I think they purposely went after trying to destroy the American fabric. They made a really good stab at it. A lot of people lost their lives after losing their friends and their family because they believed in something different. And the people that amplified that attacked them, that chastised, that closed people off, those people were mentally fucked up. That's why they did it. And they're the ones that caused all of this incredible strife and bullshit that everyone has gone through for the last 5 or 6 years.
I think it goes. I think it there's more than just mental illness there. I think there's social conditioning and things like
wouldn't
that.
social
I mean, like if you
conditioning
really
result in-
want to like start tracing things back, I mean, go watch all the stuff that Yuri Bezmenov talked about the KGB doing in the 60s.
Mhm.
And, you know, bringing post-secondary school educators to the USSR showing them around, talking about, well, here's what we believe, here's our philosophy, here's our education centers. Oh, look at this great thing, or look at that, And then, them coming back to the States and, continuing, taking those ideas and working them into their own and talking about them with students and things
Well,
like
we're
that.
going to have 600,000 new Chinese students coming over that we're going to be able to do that to.
Dude, I don't even want to friggin' start on that. Like, and Trump was like, well, we're gonna vet them. And I'm like, dude, you don't understand. You can vet them all you want. They could have zero ties to the Chinese Communist Party, but the fact of the matter is, when it comes to the CCP and how they operate with mafia tactics.
Oh yeah.
Hey, we see that you're, we're paying for your school, and you're going to through this particular program. There's some interesting stuff that we want information about. Intellectual property, copyrighted, stuff that's not out, technology that they're working on, whatever it may be, right? And it's like, all you've got to do, and this is an amazing deal. All you got to do is collect on this stuff for us, and we won't have to go through the whole unfortunate mess of your father or your grandfather or your grandmother's business being tanked, or your family back in China being out on the street. Like, they do that stuff. Like, they straight up do that stuff. They interfere with our elections by social influence, because you have communities that are here in the States that a lot of them are associated with various provinces or cities or regions back in China and things like that. Not so much like a sister state or a sister city like we do, like you go through, like Missouri, for instance. We have like Cuba, Missouri, or we have Lebanon, Missouri. Like, you have a sister state or a sister country kind of thing.
We got a Cuba, New Mexico.
Right. But like, you have these social community organizations that in the areas that are predominantly a particular demographic, and they'll send people in. Like, they've caught some dudes who were basically influencing these communities and swaying them to not vote for more pro-conservative or more anti, PRC, CCP.
Well, that goes on everywhere.
Trying to
That's
get
not
into the
just-
Senate or the House or whatever.
Yeah, but that goes on everywhere.
Well,
I mean,
right, yeah,
everybody's
but like,
full
they
of that shit.
actively
But-
do this stuff.
But the whole idea of, there's only, I think the numbers are somewhere around 200,000 or 300,000 Chinese students here now.
Yeah.
So this would, double that.
Well, and did you hear about the whole thing with the digital escorts with Microsoft?
Oh yes, using the Chinese-based and living support for the DoD.
Yes.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Like, I am so glad they're like, yeah, we're stopping that.
Well, and you saw Gates drop his pants. So he's starting to toe the line.
I don't trust him as far as I can throw my car.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you there. But did you hear what Musk announced this week in relation to Bill Gates? He announced he's starting a brand new AI company that is going to do all of the things that Microsoft does, but he's going to call it macro hard.
Are you serious?
Swear to God, look it up.
Are you sure? Like, is he actually doing that, or was he just trolling?
No, apparently it's a real thing.
Oh my God, macro hard. Jesus.
and leave it to Elon. And Elon is totally like Trump. They have that same personality characteristic where they enjoy the snark and they don't mind, dishing it out. They love
Yeah,
dishing out. They don't mind getting any back because they know they got a bigger dish than whoever is throwing it at them.
but yeah,
But
they enjoy wrestling with the pig in the mud.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it's highly entertaining for us spectators.
Oh yes.
I mean, I am enjoying the shit out of watching all of this shit unfold the way it has, at least to this point. And to me, it's like, if one analogy, I guess, would be, bowling, and basically, if you're not hitting a strike every time, you're getting 9 pins and a spare. I
Yeah.
mean, that's how this stuff is unfolding, is in my perspective, because it's just one competent fucking thing after another, and it's shit that I agree with. Like,
And every
I
one of
would do that too.
every one of his soldiers from Tulsi on down. I love Pete, all of them. I wasn't sure about the director of Treasury, your tall guy, very nice,
Oh,
well spoken. But he
Bennett.
worked, yeah, Bennett. But I think he worked for Hillary or Obama or some shit like that.
Yeah,
And he's been an I
unbelievable.
I love them all. I
Yeah.
love them all.
Every one of them has been performing. I watched that 3-hour marathon live cabinet meeting. I caught the last 2 hours because I didn't know it was even on. But holy shit, there wasn't any fakery or any bullshit going on there. Those people, that wasn't staged. Yeah, it was staged in the sense of everybody came to give their report. Trump called, it's your turn, give yours, and move on to the next. He'd ask a couple of questions. At the 2-hour mark, they did the meeting for 2 hours before they turned it over to the press. And as they turned it over, I thought, well, this is pretty human and authentic. Trump was looking around. He says, well, we've been here for 2 hours. You guys, you want to take some questions? You guys got questions? And, of course, the press corps is just yammering at him. And he looks up at the guy who's holding the mic boom that's extended up over to catch the audio. And he looks at him and he goes, dude, are you okay? Can you go longer? I mean, how heavy is that thing? You got to be strong. You haven't moved a bit for 2 hours. And he's totally just chatting it up with a crew. And it was spontaneous. It was improvised. And then the questions began. And I don't care who's got what double clone or whatever else they have of Trump. The Trump that showed up that day, to me, was the same Trump that I used to watch in The Apprentice. And when I saw that, I went, why isn't anybody drawing the clear correlation and analogy that what we're watching in these cabinet meetings and the way Trump is running shit is just Apprentice 2.0? We knew what this guy was like 20 plus years ago when he was doing this shit. So why is anybody surprised? And he's the same mofo. He hasn't changed a bit. You listen to his interviews from the 90s, and he's the same fucking dude now as he was then. And, the body language experts and all the people, doing all that. I haven't seen anybody do any real facial recognition on all of these versions that they call the clones and the doubles and the whatever. Kind of curious why nobody's done that, or if they have, I haven't seen it. But whoever that was,
With who?
back in the 90s, was the same guy that was doing that 3-hour marathon last Wednesday, I guess. And I was enthralled because I wanted to see with my own eyes and my own ears. I wanted to hear their voices. I wanted to listen to the words. I wanted to see their mannerisms. I wanted to make my own assessment of the carbon units that were in the play at the time. And this is the third. He's done 7. This is the third one that I've caught live. And I'm impressed every time. I'm like, well, that's a bunch of people who know how to get shit done, getting shit done. And it's fucking awesome to watch. It's rare and awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just love it. I really do.
Yeah, it's certainly interesting. Just everything going on. Who knows where things are going to go at this point?
Well, I think the future is bright. I think the stuff that's ahead is going to be amazing. I think it's going to come faster than people think. I think it's going to be more intense than what they could have imagined, and because it's already more intense than anybody could have imagined. I've seen nobody in the predictive fields predict what's going on right now except for us.
Now, have
We called what's going on in a way
Yeah.
that I hadn't seen anybody else in all of the woo and the foo followers that I consume. And I just realized that now that I'm thinking about it. I'm sitting there going, we actually probably had the best collective read on the future of what I've consumed and seen so far, because we now have it manifested.
yeah, it's there.
Yeah, I mean, all
Ta-da.
of the shit that we said is fucking here,
Yeah.
and it's the way that we explained it. So kudos, gents. I mean, what the fuck? How did we
Yeah.
do that? Did we just step in it on accident, or did we get there on purpose?
I don't know. I don't remember making any predictions because.
No,
don't
I
like
mean,
to predict
I think
anything.
just because our eyes are open, we're not so blinded with hatred that you can't look at the opponent and see what his good points are. Everybody right now, California, people working for numbnuts saying that he's just wiping Trump's ass. Well, maybe in the people that are employed by him, but not in the general public. You want to Californiaize the rest of this country? No, thank you, sir. Biden tried, and he was thwarted. So,
Well, and on that point, and I'll leave with this prediction. We're cruising right up on 3 hours, so this is a good time to nip it in the bud.
Adios, amigos. Yes.
So I think that
Yeah.
what we're seeing is the complete collapse and the demise of an ideology that I called back in the 90s when I first saw Clinton and this whole group of people that started to show up. I looked at it and I said, this whole social thing is not going to work. And if these people keep this shit up, I think it's going to be their demise. So my perspective was we would see the end of the Democratic Party as an ideology, as a political party, and by God, if we're not watching a complete self-imposed implosion
Yeah,
and collapse.
from the Democrats' point of view, is fuck the Americans. We're going to help the terrorists and the illegals. That's bullshit.
Well, it's all shit. The problem is that there's nothing in a policy or a platform that has any, it's not offering any alternatives to what is already out there and is clearly now working.
Yeah.
You can't go say, well, I'm not for closing the borders and keeping people out that aren't supposed to be here. You can't say, I'm not for cleaning up the streets when when you got the resources to do it,
Yeah.
and you can go get it done in like a week. Hey, maybe this is something you should think about. But these people that are so absorbed with this hate and the perspective that is completely out of whack with reality. Everybody's going to have their own, nuances of what they like and don't like about any particular societal thing. But there's a general trend that people kind of gravitate to via common sense, which is a balance, a neutrality, a respect, an accountability. All those things are now coming back in at a minimum awareness, and I think they're going to be in vogue. I think people are going to want to see, as a result of bold, drastic actions that make extraordinary, observationally undeniable proof that something works, the more that people who do that give those results, the more people are going to ask them to do more of that. So that in and of itself is going to, I think it's going to bring people into a new thinking space. They're going to start looking at things more systemically or systematically and process wise, and they're going to look at it and go, that has never really worked well. DMV or whatever, any kind of administrative local authority process is completely shit, and all of that's going to be re-examined and redesigned, and then new systems will be brought in, and it's all coming. But the people that tried to crash the country over the last 16 years, I think since O'Bumble, I think he was the Manchurian candidate, the fraud, the hoax, that nothing about that guy was right or real. And it was the last installment of trying to force a direction of the society in a way that was, the global elite, the global only, the global syndicate, whatever you want to call them. And they are so inept at what they were doing that they fucked it up bad. They fucked themselves. They shot themselves in the foot while they were stepping on their dicks. They didn't see it coming, and they are now in a complete earned decomposition and collapse of an ideology that just not only ran its course, but it ran itself into the fucking wall.
Well,
It was so much illogical, lack of common sense and critical thinking and reasoning and openness and respect that it created a chasm and a cadre of crap of people that are cranially disabled.
I mean, you see what they're for, and you just got to shake their head. Why is some third world shithole more important than your backyard, your neighborhood, your city,
Help me
your
out here.
state?
What am I missing? Right?
Yeah, and my tax dollars are supposed to go, to help those people. Fuck them. I don't care.
Right?
That may not be a Christian thing to say, but I really don't.
Hey,
give
you know what? When people say that, I was a Christian. I went through that. I had a ministry, and Christians they can't wag fingers. They got all kinds of issues and problems. I wouldn't filter it through the Christian or theological model. I would say the way of being, the way of that is more natural is like, why can't you say what you think and have somebody respect that and allow them to say what they think and you respect it?
I mean,
that whole process has been totally shit on.
I mean, there's people go absolutely fucking crazy over someone makes a statement about something. Well, that's his opinion, and his opinions are like assholes. Everybody has one, and if you don't like it, don't listen to it. But don't go crazy over it, because depending on how strong your cardiovascular system is and how sensitive your brain is, you may end up a babbling, drooling idiot in the corner of the local long-term hospital.
Well, I think, Jim, I'll leave it with this. I think that one of the cures of the clenched posterior orifices and the spasmodic sphincters is to go and learn the art of the fart. Because I think that will not only relieve a lot of pressure, but it will learn flexibility, and maybe go from there. But that's all I got, Jim.
All right. Well, it was fun as usual. I enjoy the Saturday nights. I really do. You should have more of them. Well,
if you guys can show up, there's no reason why we can't get together and throw up. So.
Yeah. I'm unless I'm on the road, and even then, I always bring my microphone with me, and I have a mat that.
Yeah.
I can get on.
Well, we start September on Monday. The fall is approaching.
Fuck.
The weather's getting today and yesterday was just stellar. It was like amazing. All I want to do is just lay out and be in it.
It was 100 degrees today.
That's why you're so red.
Yeah.
Your shirt. Okay.
Hey, to match my Corvette.
There you go. Yeah. Hey, next time you got to share some pictures of your new baby. So.
Oh, that's it has a custom exhaust system on it, which adds about 40 to 60 horsepower.
Oh, really? That doesn't surprise me.
And the guy put $6,000, $6,500 into it after he bought it, and it's 72,800 miles on it. My black one had 122,000. It still ran like a son of a bitch. It's a wonderful car. It's a wonderful road trip car. And I'm getting used to the red now, and it has the black BBS style wheels.
Mm-hmm.
And there's 13-inch wide tread in the back. I mean, that's a lot of tire.
That's going to get a grip and make you go.
And when I really hammer it, when I get onto the freeway, that's when I floor it, because we have almost a 3/4 mile long run up before you merge into the slow lane on Interstate 10 here in just north of downtown Tucson. I get on that, and I'm usually at 120 miles an hour when I'm just ready to merge over, and that's when I hit the binders and slow down. But I immediately get in the fast lane and go 85. I cruise at 85 all over Arizona. They won't stop you. So I love it. I love it. So
well, next time we get on, make sure you got some pictures, and I know there's going to be stories. But looking forward to that.
All right. And
all right, my friend. All right, everybody. You guys all have a great week, great weekend, and great summer, and a great life, because it's about to get great again.
No, I think it's about get ready to get crazy again.
That too.
It appears that Tulsi has turned over all of hard evidence with signatures, date stamps, and everything else of the planning of the attempted takedown of Donald J. Trump.
Yep.
With Hillary's autograph on it and Barack Obama's John Hancock.
I think the show is just getting started, and it's going to be more mind-blowing, which, again, going back to what I was saying earlier about the people that just can't figure it out. When they see this shit come out, that's when a lot of their craniums are going to collapse.
Yeah.
It's going to be, oh, my God, what? These guys were right? Oh, no, you can't, no. But it's going to be fun, and we'll report on it next time, because it's going to unfold over a period of time. And I think it's going to be ongoing. I think we're going to see this all the way up to our birthday next year, when Trump and team were blowing out fucking world fairs and, birthday bashes and ballroom shit, and fucking, it's going to be off the chain.
Yeah, it's going to be, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it. And
all right, my friend, I will say adios, and I'll be in touch.
Always a pleasure. And, earlier today, I don't know, are we still on? We're still recording?
Yeah, we're still live.
Okay, I'll just...
Hold on here. And just stay on a second.